This is the so-called supreme duo, all dripped out in gold and acting untouchable. But earlier, our boy cooked this dude's girl so hard she still looks salty standing beside him. She kept acting like our boy was straight clowning her in front of everybody. So now she's hanging off her man, basically begging him to teach him a lesson. Her champion in the shiny armor steps up, ready to swing on our boy like it's light work. He raises that glowing sword and brings it crashing down in a clean, vertical slash. The blade lands right on our boy's shoulder. Full power, no holding back. And yet his body doesn't even twitch, like the hit barely even existed. The power couple both freeze up for a second, totally thrown off. Their brains almost short-circuited, and that's exactly when our Make lets it slip that he's the one everyone knows online as Zero. That name hits hard for a reason. All those geared-up adventurers in the misty clearing just freeze, eyes locked upward, because the deadliest nightmare they've heard about has just ripped open as a glowing portal in front of them. Down that icy tunnel, they spot some pale guy casually walking their way. The armored fighters step in, grabbing his shoulder, meaning he should hold up right there. Word is, the top carry squad in the whole city is already on their way. Everyone is staring at him, thinking this guy probably dropped more cash on that shiny loadout than they'll farm in their entire lives. That's when the girl in heels suddenly freezes on the stairs, eyes locked on him like she's seen a ghost. He can tell right away she's the ex who used to date the original owner of this body. She stalks up and basically throws all her attitude at him, treating him like he's beneath her. In her head, a dude like him has no business even thinking about stepping into a place like this. He doesn't bother swallowing it and just fires back, asking if she's been starving for some attention lately. Her whole vibe cracks as she jerks back, low-key terrified by how calm he is. After that, she immediately latches onto the guy in gold armor, pressing against him like he's her whole world. With this smug little smile, she talks up the golden boy as if he's on a whole different level from the broke nobody she thinks he is. The armored dude glances over at our boy with this knowing, almost sympathetic look. His eyes basically say he understands, like he knows getting thrown away like that quietly stings. But our boy basically shrugs it off in his head, feeling like he's already drained her enough emotionally and doesn't need to push it. He's cool with just letting that leftover stuff go, like it's something anyone else can pick up if they want. In his mind, he's thinking this dude's inner monologue is kinda savage, like low-key brutal with how he sees things. She completely loses it, all fired up and pointing hard, begging her man to step up and smash that other guy. But her boyfriend's all spooked, and the second he catches the pressure coming off our boy, his confidence just evaporates. He starts acting like he didn't see anything, playing dumb so he doesn't have to jump into a fight. That troublemaker bounces without looking back, waving everything off like none of this is her problem anymore. The armored guy's locked in on grinding this special portal event, planning to milk it for all the rare stuff he can. They're talking like our boy's destined to stay at rock bottom, stamped as useless while everyone else levels up. The whole squad was fired up, fully expecting him to pop off and be the one to turn everything around. Some random dude once leaned on him under that bright sky, telling him broke nobodies like them were born to lose and couldn't ever stack up. Our boy just smiled calm and said any man could still grind and level himself up. The older guy's hand tightened on his shoulder as the other dude stalled out. Stunned, he dared to say that. Deep down though, that so-called elite guy had always low-key wished he'd get a shot like that too. Later, inside the portal, the girl in gold remembered standing there with the light blasting everywhere, thinking she'd just gotten figuratively dumped on by that same guy, and her own man hadn't lifted a finger for her. The armored boyfriend puffed himself up and spun some excuse about needing to protect his family name. But then he leaned in closer and swore that one day, that guy would be the one on his knees, eating his words and apologizing, all while he clung possessively to her waist, fingers digging in like he was scared she might slip out of his control too. Sometime later, our boy's pendant suddenly ignites in bright blue, lighting up his jaw and chest as this heavy pressure rolls in. He steps out alone toward the roaring portal ahead, hood whipping in the wind as he walks straight into that blinding glow without hesitating. Inside, the whole place goes crazy with golden blasts ripping through everything, flames tearing across trees and buildings like it's the end of the map. The dude in gold armor just stares, scraped up and breathing hard, realizing for the first time they might actually lose this run. The squad around him all looks ready to tap out, bodies wrecked and spirits shot, like every one of them just wants to hit quit and be done. Staying in that dungeon feels straight up like signing your own death sentence, the kind of push where nobody expects to walk out. But then their eyes slide over to the side, toward the feed showing what's happening on a different part of the field. On the dusty rocks under that insane blue light, the camera shifts and locks onto a lone figure above them. Our boy was like Batman in Gotham. The dude in gold armor completely lost it, veins popping as our our boy just glared back with that battered face and wild eyes. Meanwhile, he stood there under the bright sky with that calm smirk. His panicked squad in the chaos started reaching out, yelling for him to stop before it went any further. Instead, he stood at the cliff edge and triggered the last stage of the portal right as that massive blue pillar exploded upward. The gateway went crazy, light blasting everything, and the rest of the players got forced out of the dungeon in an instant. When the light finally cleared, a giant armored scorpion shape rose from the blast, claws gleaming in that blue glow. It fully stepped through as the raid boss, towering over the wasteland like the final monster on some insane difficulty. That's when he silently let it slip that this monstrous thing wasn't random. He'd brought out his own armored summon too, dragging it in through a powered-up portal at his back. The two colossal beasts crashed into each other right away, launching into a slugfest that shook the whole map. It pops off like these huge regen waves, covering up all the hits instantly. The boss is only ticking down for trash numbers, like that sorry little 22 damage floating there. With weak hits like that, nobody's dropping in this raid anytime soon. Our boy eats the strikes, pushes in close, then lets his weapon scream. He starts spamming fireballs like he's on cooldowns, lighting the whole screen up. The next second, it all chains into stupidly bright explosions blowing across the map. The monster's skull cracks open with a nasty wound, blood spraying as smoke rolls around its head. When it's finally over, Bro's standing on the dead scorpion's body like it's just another filed away boss. He plants his boots on the carcass in that hero stance, and the worldwide system alert follows instantly, saying that some guy named Zero just shattered the temple records so hard the three monks were frozen there under the blue light, trying to process what they'd just seen. The armored guy and the girl behind him just jolted back on screen, both faces stretched wide, one sweating bullets and the other grinning like she'd gone full psycho fanboy. The dude was clearly fighting to keep it together back there, face twisted in this wild half smile like he didn't know if he should be impressed or freaked out. In that icy chamber, the squad stared at the broken knight and instantly started wondering if Zero was the one who actually dropped that monster. For anyone watching, it looked straight up unrealistic, like something that should have never gone down in this world. So the gold-trimmed clown shifted his nervous smile and quietly sixed his armored squad on the problem, telling them to talk it through. All of them lined up in that blue stone hall, yelling in agreement as they got ordered to dig into who this Zero guy really was. Then the panel cuts to the alley, where Zero steps in with that blazing pendant and hungry smirk, and you finally get why this guy's dangerous. Back on the cursed field, it swivels to a past tag team listing. He'd once been ranked as a top prodigy standing shoulder to shoulder with legends. That kind of rep went way back almost a full century in game time. His name stuck in ancient records like an old final boss Easter egg, but then he found out his whole build stretched way beyond some basic mage setup. Needed an absurd amount of points to upgrade, and for any normal player that would be a death sentence. The summons eat your energy, the upgrades eat your energy. Even breathing in this class costs energy. That's why nobody touches it. It's a trap for idiots. So he just turned on auto farm and went to eternal sleep, locked in like he just queued into some endgame raid by himself. Then way down the line, after what felt like countless seasons, he jolts up off the floor in this cramped, busted little room, clipping Beast Tamer, and suddenly all his suffering makes way too much sense. He strolls straight into this roaring blue vortex like it's just another doorway. A cold system pop-up flickers on, casually tagging him as Class Shifter Shuuo. It tells him he's been logged out for 36,552 days, basically gone an entire century. Meanwhile, some backup source kept farming energy for him non-stop in the background. After all that downtime, his alternate energy pool hits 221,066 496,000 just sitting there, and then the big notification drops. He's unlocked Mythical Core Class Necromancer, an evolved Beast Tamer, a worse-than-trash starter RNG, the kind people instantly uninstall over. He twists that into his whole identity, the one thing the game can't clown him for. First move with his supposedly doomed build, he strolls down the sunlit street straight into the newbie gear stall. He silently hands over every last gold, and slams it all on a random one-star staff lying in the corner bin. The whole shop just pauses, staring at him like he left his brain at the door. It's the kind of moment where anybody would say he could have kitted himself out head to toe instead. People know that kind of weapon basically never levels cleanly no matter how hard you pump it, and while everyone rounds up excuses for why it's dumb, he's standing there like it's all part of the plan, pouring crazy amounts of harder-earned energy points straight into that thing, forcing the refine button like he's speedrunning upgrades, grinding non-stop until the number on it flips to golden tier, and suddenly that junk staff everyone clowned on turns into the hardest hitting weapon on the entire server. He steps out, spins the staff once, and deletes a giant rat in a single hit, while every other player nearby is still out there chipping at those same mobs for like 2 damage a swing. Whole squad queuing together just to drop one sorry rat. And this guy is cutting through beasts like his blades turning them into glitches. He's clearing packs solo over and over, still locked in, not even tired. Even dusty NPC started tagging him as the big boss of that dungeon. Random girls wanted in, sliding up like they all just discovered a carry. One shows up flexing that she's on healer duty, acting all serious. But anyone with eyes can see she's rocking a full-on witch loadout. Another crew rolled in deep, whole lineup lined up just to scout him. One of them didn't even pretend. She basically threw girlfriend app at him on the spot, and Zero just ghosted all of them. Blade still swinging, stats still climbing. He's got that glowing portal to grind and a nasty scorpion waiting to get juiced up. He stays locked in, no side quests, no dumb distractions. He only even picked up his pet scorpion thanks to a random side request he stumbled on from this beat-up NPC named Carl. Carl's whole family had been wrecked by a swarm of scorpions. Zero didn't overthink it. He took the job on the spot. He pushed through the rusted gate of that underground factory, rolled up his sleeves in-game, and just started wiping it off the map, shredding every armored scorpion that popped into his vision. He went so hard on them, he even dragged the Emperor Scorpion out, forcing it to spawn early just by mowing down enough of its little ones. And just when his bar looked completely drained, these two clowns jumped in from off-screen, trying to snag the boss he'd spent all that time grinding down. What they didn't realize was that Zero still had reserves tucked away. He'd faked the whole struggle just to lure them in close. In a couple of ruthless swings, he wiped them both off the map. Then he pulled the Emperor's cracked skull into his own grid and locked it in as a new summon slot. He pumped its stats to the cap right then and there and strolled off calmly, like it was just another daily quest. That scorpion linked with his golden staff, and all the fresh levels he'd stacked was the whole reason he walked straight into that rare portal like it was already his server. That's also why this insane blade arc of his made Shiny Boy's purpose here look completely pointless. He just rolled his shoulders, cracked his knuckles, and let them know they weren't ready for what he was about to drop. Lou standing there, staff charged up, ready to absolutely delete this dude, when Yao suddenly starts losing it. Rose shaking, begging him to chill, spamming out how he's the Supreme Guild's president and first son of the richest guy in Ingaris. Lou looks through him like he's background NPC and keeps that same energy, and then the hit lands, full force, blasts this spoiled rich kid clean across the street. With that single strike, Yao's fancy armor just explodes off him into metal scraps. Right then, Lou gets this big system alert on his screen. Professional Supreme Star Glory just kicked in. The system spells it out because this clown swung first and went gray. Luo now has 10 full minutes to stomp him into the floor with 0 kill penalty. Here's how the game runs it. Under normal conditions, every player's name bar glows white. But the moment you slap another white named player, your own name goes gray for a while. And during that window, they can dunk on you however they want, camp you, strip your loot, even erase your character, and the game doesn't care. If that gray name turns around and actually finishes off their target, their tag flips to red. They eat 100 sin points and their whole account starts spiraling. With a red tag, you're banned from safe zones, locked out of the real world, and forced to either grind mobs forever to bleed off the sin, or sit there as free content for every hunter in the area. And when you finally get dropped, your level's gone, your XP's wiped, and half your hard-earned gear goes flying on the ground. Anyway, since Yao just turned into free loot walking around, Luo casually starts scooping up all his gear and items like he's cleaning out a dungeon chest, while Lin just sits there completely stunned, watching the dude she likes basically get looted right in front of her. With that out of the way, Loop's all set to walk Irene back to town and cash in the quest. But right before he can dip, Lin crawls over and latches onto his leg, begging him not to ditch her, trying to explain that players only get 2 resurrection scrolls a week and she already burned one, so she dies here and has to pop the second one. She's tapped out with nothing for actual emergencies. Then she swaps tactics, goes all desperate and flirty, trying to remind him they used to have a thing, saying she never really moved on. Loops just drops his eyes to her, taking it in, then glances at Irene, turns his back on Lin, and keeps walking. Doesn't drop a single word. Ice cold behavior. Lin's face flips from panic to straight rage as she yells after him, watching him leave with Irene like she never existed. Jump ahead a bit. And just like that, he wraps up the escort quest clean, no slip-ups. The payout for it? Actually busted. He walks away with this ice-style staff, and then he dumps 22,256 energy points into it, no hesitation, grinding it up 144 times straight. Yeah, that number's real. The thing evolves into a golden tier beast of a weapon called the Frost Scepter Destroyer. It does chew through a stupid amount of energy, but to Lou, that's basically lunch money. He also picks up a basic pet egg on the side, and since he's been stockpiling eggs from all the mobs he's been farming non-stop, he just chucks the whole haul straight to his battle scorpion as food. Right after chewing through it all, that basic pet gets a crazy upgrade into a silver silver armored scorpion. This thing's officially an elite beast now, so let's see what he's working with. Dude sitting on a 2-star legendary staff, an elite silver scorpion pet, and every piece of Liu Yao's gold gear, so he's basically prepped to challenge the first Otherworld's final boss. Before he jumps back in though, he's gotta reload on essentials, so Luo logs off the game and returns to real life. He's clearly about to hit up someplace to grab pots and other basics. The moment he's back, his phone starts ringing. It's the hospital calling, mad upset, laying it out. They want 390,000 for his brother Zhang Xiao's treatment, and if he doesn't pay, they're cutting everything off. Luo stays steady, doesn't freak out, just asks for their transfer details and says he'll have the cash sent over within 10 minutes. Luo decides he'll just cash out some of his golden gear, since that stuff converts to real-life millions, and in his head, helping out Zheng Yu's brother is the bare minimum after hijacking his body this whole time. Right as he's planning the sale, a system prompt pops up telling him straight that none of his equipment can be traded or dropped. Dude's basically hard-locked with gear he can't move, gift, or sell off at all. Even if he liquidates every last silver he's holding, it adds up to like 10 grand tops. That kind of money doesn't even come close to covering what he actually needs. So he ends up doom scrolling through the in-game job boards trying to find anything that throws decent cash. Most of the standard trainer gigs are sitting at like 50 an hour, and that pay hits slower than a lagging server on dial-up. Then one listing jumps out at him, posted by some player going by the name Rumoro. And this isn't that cute little slime everyone knows. This Rumoro gives off pure shady operator vibes, looking to hire a pro coach for a insane $300,000 payout. Luo's eyes straight up spark at the number, but he forces himself to scroll down and check what people are saying in the comments. Word on the forums is this exact quest pops up every Awakening season, and anybody who accepts it ends up straight up dead, like log off forever dead. Does that slow him down? Not even a little. He spots life on the line and 300,000 in the same line and just files it under normal Tuesday business. So he instantly jumps on it and messages the account behind that super shady quest post. A girl answers the call and starts laying down the rules of the deal. First condition, the student he's supposed to train is a total rookie. Second, he's got to drag them all the way through the first world. Luo listens, shrug it off, and flexes back that he can carry through both the first and second world, but he wants 390,000. And she barely blinks before saying she'll throw 400,000 his way, but only if he actually manages to train up her sister. Then the shot flips to her part in front of a whole wall of monitors like some Turge squad leader, telling Luo to show up at the Doomsday Town spawn in 10 minutes, where her sister's already logged in. A couple moments later, Luo's stepping through the portal straight into Doomsday Town. He's walking in thinking soloing the first world is basically chill warm-up content, so pulling 400,000 just to help someone else clear it feels like free money. While he's checking the area, he spots this clothed girl with her hood pulled low, clearly trying to look low-key and mysterious. Luo assumes this has to be his newbie student and heads straight toward her. Around them, the whole crowd is talking way too loud. Even with the hood on, everyone instantly clocks her as that notorious caster. At this point, it feels like the whole server knows her, and they're all buzzing about how she's rolling with our guy to stack up some serious gold. Luo links up with her in a party and flips straight into coach mode. He runs her through the basics, 2 setup quests to clear the first world, dunk 1,000 mobs, and bring back 10 coins. He lays out another rule too. She can't touch anything that's 5 levels above her, and even if he leaves a monster at 1 HP, she still won't be able to land the last hit. So while they're farming those setup quests, they've also got to boost her level. Their first pull is a scorpion, and Luo just starts styling on it like he's in an anime opening, locking the scorpion in place as these huge ice spikes explode out of the ground around it, all from his freshly unlocked skills. After that, he finally faces the hooded girl, and calmly signals for her to go in and land the last hit so she can scoop the XP for herself. She steps up, tags the frozen mob, and takes it down. Her level instantly jumps 3 times in a row, but she just freezes up, staring into nothing like she's low-key questioning her whole life. That's when another scorpion suddenly comes tearing in from directly behind her, and Luo immediately bolts over at full speed. He yanks her out of danger at the last second and deletes the mob himself on pure reflex. After the fight, he's still got the pink-haired girl pulled in against him, one arm braced around her while he scans the area for the next wave. Right there, the camera hangs on her eyes lighting up, and you can tell she's already kind of locked in on him, still replaying that hero shot of him in her head. She barely reacts and just keeps standing there zoning out, completely ignoring Luo trying to tell her they gotta keep moving to grind levels. As they push deeper into the forest path with trees threes packed tight on both sides. Luo casually throws out a question about how old she is. She silently lifts her hand and flashes her fingers for 21, still not saying a single word to him. And at this point, the quiet is starting to feel low-key sketchy. What really messes with Luo's head, though, is finding out she's been stuck at this tiny level for 3 whole years. Everyone gets their class shift at 18, so he's sitting there wondering what she's even been doing, and now his radar is definitely up. Right after that, the girl reaches up, grabs the edge of her hood, and finally lowers it so he can see her face. There's this tired but thankful look in her eyes as she practically begs him to just leave her in this spot, saying she'll still send half the cash as long as he keeps the whole thing a secret from her sister. Hearing her voice for the first time, Luo stops in his tracks, looks back, and shuts it down instantly in his head. He already gave her sister his word he'd carry her through the first world, so backing out isn't even on the table. Her expression goes completely drained, and she tells him he seriously shouldn't push this, because she's carrying something called the Star of Calamity. In other words, she's basically a walking disaster slot where anyone staying close ends up caught in non-stop trouble, bad rolls, and probably an ugly death flag. Instead of backing off like any sane player, Luo actually leans in mentally. Now he wants to know what this vessel of disaster deal really is, because for some reason he finds that kind of danger way too interesting. Before she even gets a word out, a flood of players phases in around them, closing the circle so tight it feels like a traitor mob. They immediately start flaming the girl, blasting her as that cursed caster who shows up and wrecks everyone's lives. Turns out her job listing is legendary for all the wrong reasons. Anyone who takes her request ends up dying in the ugliest way, but whoever manages to kill her cashes and crazy EXP and alternate energy. So now the whole lobby is staring her down like she's an endgame chest that just spawned in the starter town. The girl's heart starts racing and she tells Luo they've got to dip fast because these players all massively outlevel them. They barely get the chance to move before another squad phases into view. It's Yao, of course, rolling up with his whole squad acting like this is their private server. One of the randoms steps up to Yao like he's about to ask for info, and Yao just brushes him aside like an annoying NPC. Then he strolls right up to Luo, fist twisted in Luo's collar, wearing this cocky, can't-touch-me grin. Luo stares him down, completely calm, basically treating him like a walking bonus chest showing up on cue. Then he throws in one last jab, pointing out how she can't even tap her revive scroll for another 7 days. Luo basically reminds him he already got wiped off the map in their last run-in. Even after that reality check, the guy still doesn't get it and starts barking orders for his squad to gear up. So Lu Wei and the pink-haired girl just stand there frozen, both of their eyes locked on Lu Wei like they can't believe what they're seeing. He's completely lost, brain lagging, not understanding why everyone's staring. He glances back over his shoulder and waves over Waku, one of his guys who's been standing off a bit, clutching his sword like he's about to dive in on Luo. But then, out of nowhere, Yao strides up to Waku and starts rocking him, furious, yelling that he told them to bring legit supplies, not weapons. A moment later, every one of Yao's guild members steps forward, forming a full circle around Luo in the middle of the street, and one by one they drop gift boxes in front of him like it's some kind of in-game tribute ceremony. Lin instantly blows up on Yao, snapping at him about what he thinks he's doing, but he just ignores her completely and tells the Wei to handle it. She's left standing there frozen, mouth open, not even sure what she just watched. From a distance, it legit looks like he's tucked safely behind his own guildmates, peeking out like some shaky stray dog. Yao clears his throat, straightens up, and tells Lua all the stuff laid out here was personally chosen by him as this big sincere gift. After that, he finally gets to the real point. He wants Luo to sign up under his guild banner. To make it hit harder, he tosses out the number 500 grand a month as a regular paycheck. The whole crowd instantly goes dead quiet, heads turning, everyone stuck on just how insane that number sounds. Even Lin can't hold back and starts clowning Luo, acting like there's zero chance someone as broke as him could ever touch that kind of cash. She figures he wouldn't stack that much money even grinding non-stop for 10 years, so to her it's a no-brainer he should accept. In her head, Lin thinks she's pulling some genius move. If Luo signs with the guild, Yao's satisfied and she basically gets to order Luo around again, 2 wins in one go. Luo doesn't jump on the deal though. He pauses, then drops a condition so brutal it wipes the smiles off all their faces. He lays it out straight in his head, he only parties up with people who outclass him. So if they can't prove they're stronger, he's not buying into anything they're selling. Lin stands there stunned, completely lost on why this broke beast tamer is brushing off $500,000 when he's out here stressing over hospital payments. Luo keeps his gaze locked on her, and in his mind, it's already done. People roll with their own kind, and he's not about to trade his pride away just to pad his wallet like she did. Lin's cheeks blaze as the anger kicks in hard. Luo turns his back and starts heading out, focused on the grind ahead while telling them to clear his path. Lin leaps in front of him and snaps at her guild to rush him. Before they they can move, Yao cuts in and tells the whole team to back off and let Luo through, leaving her stunned while Luo walks past Yao without even twitching. Lin leans toward Yao, trying to stir trouble by saying Luo's clearly treating him like he's beneath him and that Yao should step up. Yao shuts it down, repeating that Luo leaves untouched and snapping that she must not be hearing him right. That's when it clicks for Lin, and she freezes for a second, realizing Yao's anger isn't aimed at Luo at all, it's locked onto her. As Luo and the girl head off, the whole guild just stands there in silence, all eyes locked on their backs. One dude leans over to Yao and low-key suggests they should just delete Luo now, since he already clowned their leader once and is strutting around like he owns the place. He doesn't even finish the sentence before Yao's fist blasts straight to his face, dropping him on the spot. With his twisted, hyped-up grin, Yao admits that fighting for something is what makes it fun, and anything he can grab too easily just feels lame and worthless. Lin plays cutesy and leans in, asking why he suddenly flipped sides when not that long ago he was literally trying to kill Luo. Yao wraps a hand around her jaw and says maybe it was when Luo one-tapped him before, then asks the only thing that matters now. How does some broke beast tamer hit like a raid boss? In Yao's eyes, Luo is clearly not some normal scrub, which means he absolutely has to drag him into their guild. Off to the side, Lin is quietly burning up inside, her anger locked onto Zheng Yu. She's already decided she's going to put him in his place and make him pay for it soon. Everything cuts to late night, moon hanging over the world while the healing effect fades into the dark. Luo and Sujin move down the forest trail, leaves crunching under their boots when she suddenly mutters a quiet thanks for saving her back there, eyes still glued straight ahead. In Luo's head, it's simple. If she dies, the quest money disappears with her, so that clutch save was just business as usual for him. Sujin lets out a weak curse under her breath, shoulders drooping like she already knows how this story usually ends for her. Deep down, she still doesn't buy that Luo has what it takes to actually carry her through the first world and break her losing streak. Lu slows to a stop, genuinely thrown off, wondering how someone tanked this hard in confidence ever had the guts to put up that party request on the forums. He keeps going in his head. She could have stayed home and never logged in, but instead she's still queued up and stepped into World 1, so what pushed her to do that? Her expression sinks as she admits it was her sister fighting to keep going, not her. She checked out a long time ago, and then she quietly pulls up and shares her character profile. On the screen, the thing that stands out hardest is her doomed-sounding subclass, Vessel of Disaster, and she lays out how anyone stuck with it can only finish mobs if they're locked into a party. The system's only escape clause is to clear the first world, something she's been grinding at and failing to pull off for 3 straight years. All of this hits Laura once, and his brain starts going into overdrive. In his head, he finally connects the dots that the game doesn't just have the regular starter classes. There are these rare, weird hidden types too. If someone running one of those risky special classes actually breaks through the limit slapped on them, their level can spike straight up into high tier, maybe even all the way into those busted myth class ranks. The problem is, for most people, pulling that off is basically nightmare difficulty, and if they mess it up, they end up trapped in this non-stop loop of pain and retry after retry. Sujin slides down with her back to a tree and keeps talking, saying that ever since her awakening 3 years ago, she's been grinding attempt after attempt at the first world. She's never cleared it once, and because of the system rules, she's never even been allowed to queue with anyone whose level is 10 or more above hers. And if you don't have at least one level 10 plus player in the squad, that first world boss might as well be impossible. She gets to her feet with tears pouring down, telling him to just go already because there's no universe where she makes it through. Luo doesn't turn away though. He locks eyes with her, completely steady, and promises he's going to get her past World 1. Sujin's eyes widen, like someone just unplugged her brain for a second. She hurries up to his side, latching onto his arm, her grip tight and her words barely holding steady. In her head, she's screaming that she's waited 3 whole years for this curse to finally lift so everyone would quit treating her like dead weight. Luo gently rests his hand over hers, then turns back toward the path like he's saying it's time to move. He knows straight up that if they plan on clearing the first world, they can't sit around here stalling. With that little hit of motivation dropped, the squad's locked in and ready for the boss fight now that Sujin's wrapped up her progress in this zone. All those runs they just knocked out were gateway quests to pop the world boss, and honestly, none of them were that crazy. On paper, it's simple. Wipe out 1,000 mobs and stack 10 silver coins. Sounds like light work, but for our MC, it's a different level. After a quick time skip, he's already bodied wave after wave of monsters while casually scooping up silver like it's pocket change. Sujin's just frozen there, jaw practically on the floor, watching him clap whole herds of boars and whatever else spawns in, wondering what kind of freak of a player she just squad up with. After they breeze through the 2 quests, Luo glances at her and asks if she's good to hit the boss, and she nods, but he can see her energy's off. Her steps drag a little, so he presses her, wondering what's bugging her now. now. Staring at the ground, she quietly admits that compared to everyone else, he's on a different level and could have just ignored her request from the start. Yet here he is, still grinding beside her, trying to clear her first world, and she genuinely can't figure out his angle. Luo, trying not to make it awkward, shrugs it off in his head like he's nobody special, just some average guy from a normal family. That low-key, calm attitude only makes her chest thump harder for him, whether she likes it or not. Inside though, Luo's sweating bullets, reminding himself it's probably not the time to drop the whole actually rich detail. As they finish turning everything in, a system window slides open, throwing out the choice to enter the boss fight now or save it for later. Luo instantly taps confirm, no pause, like delaying it isn't even on the table. The ground in front of them tears open and a demonic portal rips itself into the air, swirling like it's ready to eat them alive. And they cross a spawn point like they're just strolling into some random fast food joint. Once they load in on the other side, they're dropped straight into the Demon Abyss map, and the system starts spamming the dungeon rules. It pops up a timer. They only get 1 hour to wipe the Berserker Swine King. If they mess up, the whole run resets back to 0 and they've got to grind every quest all over again. After that warning, the system dumps a bundle of potions into their inventory, revival scrolls and heals that cost more than most players make in days. Luo knows he could clap this boss solo without them, but he still pockets everything just to chill his nerves. On top of that, he's hiding a busted setup. Luon drop armor he's ready to strap onto his silver-armored scorpion. With gear like that backing him up, this boss is looking like light work. They finally walk up on the Berserker Swine King face to face. It's a level 10 beast, standing there like the final wall between World 1 and World 2. Its whole existence is camping that nightmare source tunnel and deleting anyone who tries to slip past. Sujin's in her head trying to hype herself up, wanting to finally show she brings value, but her body's clearly trembling. It's literally just the two of them queued up against a level 10 raid boss, so yeah, the nerves are real. Luo clocks how shaken she is and basically tells her to sit back and only jump in to support his scorpion if things go south. That just makes her start stressing over whether he's walking into a death wish. He stays relaxed, gives her a calm smile like he seriously isn't worried about himself at all. In that chill main character way, he plans to just roll this boss and move on like it's routine. The Berserker Swine King suddenly explodes forward, sprinting straight at Luo, and he answers the challenge by winding up his spell and sending one out. A massive fireball shoots from his hand and detonates right in the boar's face. But this boar is different. Its hide so thick, it might as well be armor. The spell fizzles out on impact, barely shaving off any HP. Luo clocks that in an instant, brain going to work, and chooses to just keep tossing fireballs non-stop, hoping one of them finally hits hard enough to matter. He stays on it, firing again and again with zero hesitation, and after a string of hits, he finally chips a solid chunk out of the boss, while his scorpion pet holds the front line and soaks damage like a total brick wall. The boss horse snaps and goes berserk, blasting straight at Luo like a raging freight train. Luo just flips out of the way, slipping past it without even getting his clothes scratched. While the beast blows by, he takes a quick look to see if his scorpion summon's still handling business. In that tiny window, the Boar King whips around and lunges again, even wilder than before. Sujin clocks the movement right away and yells for him to move out of the way. Instead, he stays planted in front of it, totally solid, not frozen up or panicking at all. The way he just waits there, you can tell he's already mapped out the whole next step in his head. It feels like he's about to pull some highlight clip risk plays straight out of a guide video, and he actually sends it, waiting until this oversized pig boss is right up in his face. Then Luo snaps forward and tags it with his ultimate ice-piercing strike, clean and brutal, and locks the boss in a block of ice right where it stands. But this ripped Pig King boss isn't just gonna sit there frozen for long. With its broke-level resistance, it shatters the ice like styrofoam and blasts out a roar that rattles the whole field. Sujin instantly calls out in warning in her head, knowing that once it's heated like this, it starts spamming a stomp skill that could wipe them. While she's stressing, the boar is already mauling the scorpion, slamming it around the arena like it owes him money. The main character is in the back, trying hard to pull the boss's aggro over to himself. In his head, he's snapping at Sujin to keep his pet alive, because there's no shot he's watching. 400,000 credits vanish here. She keeps pumping heals into the scorpion, but the recovery barely patches anything up against this brickwall boar. On top of that, the scorpion needs real reset time or it's going to get completely folded, and seeing how fast things are collapsing, they don't have that kind of time. So Luo just decides to full send it right there. He closes the distance and strolls straight up on the Pig King. He pulls out his 2-star golden gear and starts unloading on it like he's uninstalled Fear, throwing out fireballs and ice skills together like he's running 2 builds at once. Sujin's in the back watching this play out, mind kind of lagging. She's trying to process how he's casting both elements together when that should straight up not be a thing, but he's clearly not built like the standard player. After grinding through a brutal back and forth, they finally drop the boss. and this tank of a pig king is just sprawled on the ground, completely done. A system window instantly flashes up, handing them the clear for beating the wild boar king, and the boss finally drops some solid loot, which Luo instantly starts digging through like it's his inventory on stream. Right then, a bright system alert pops up, hyping Sujin up for finally breaking through that cursed caster class lock, the whole vessel of calamity thing. In simple terms, she just unlocked the Forbidden Core Sorcerer epic class that every mage dreams about but never touches. Sujin actually tears up from how hyped she is, not only because that curse hanging over her is gone, but because her level bar just skyrocketed. Right after that, two shimmering gateways spin open in front of them. The red one's the path into the second world, and the blue one is a straight return ticket to the real world. Luo doesn't even hesitate and beelines for the blue portal, because he's got hospital costs waiting and he is so done with dungeons for today. Sujin looks thrown off and wonders what he's doing, but in his mind, he's already on mission. Grab his bag from her sister and bounce. Scene cuts back to reality, where her insanely curvy stunner of a sister is laid back, enjoying the city skyline like it's her personal background. Her assistant walks in and mentions she just got a call from our boy, flexing that he already knocked out the quest. She's sitting there side-eyeing the whole thing because it's only been like half a day and this quest has clowned people for 3 years straight. She hangs up on him and says she's got to double check with her sister before any money leaves her account, pretty much treating him like some random scammer. But right when she's ready to toss his claim in the trash, her sister comes rushing in. She's super hyped, telling her she wrapped up the quest and even leveled up into some epic rank class. Her sister's basically freaking out, hyping her up for pulling off something nobody in their whole family tree has ever done. Then she pauses and asks how big of a squad this guy sent to run the mission. Sujin just quietly lifts one finger. Only a single player rolled up for it. A second later, the boss lady's glued to her desk, speed scrolling through the community forums like she's hunting for leaks. She asks Sujin if that new guy who just dropped in could actually be Zero, the dude everyone's been buzzing about, and Sujin just gives a small nod. Now Sujin's low-key chewing on her nails, realizing her sister and this Zero guy just pulled off something no one else could. And in her head, that only means one thing. She has to lock this guy down, no hesitation. She decides on the spot to call an emergency meeting because if they don't scoop this man up fast, some other guild will. And yes, the recap's just running on this one panel while she's plotting. The cut jumps back to Luo, and he's finally got his payout sitting in his account. So first thing he does is fire it straight over to the hospital, and then messages the staff, asking if they need anything else from him. Luo lets them know he's really stressed about his little brother and tells them to do whatever it takes to fix him up as fast as possible. The staff hits him with rough news. His brother's condition took another dive and needs a few more months under close watch, which is going to run him around 40 to 50 grand more. As soon as Luo hears that, he instantly kicks himself for turning down Luo Yan's offer earlier. Right after he ends the call, his phone lights up again with another incoming number. This time it's someone reaching out to recruit him into the Misty Rain Pavilion Guild. The caller is Sujinya, the Vice Guild Master, calmly breaking down the deal. 30,000 a month plus all his insurance covered. Since he's drowning in hospital fees for his little brother, he figures he can't really say no to that kind of money. He agrees to sign with them, but only if they accept one non-negotiable condition from his side. He'll pull up for raids, meetings, and guild content, but they are not allowed to chain down his day-to-day life. Sujinya takes his demand to the higher-ups, and the second they hear it, the room's vibe goes cold. The seniors are all tight-faced, arguing that once you wear a guild tag, your whole focus should be the guild. So a guy asking to run totally free feels straight up wrong to them. One by one, every veteran in that conference room rejects the idea of bringing Luo in under those terms. But the CEO isn't fully following their lead because Sujinya, who's actually Sujin's sister, personally backed this guy, and now the boss wants to know why she rates him so highly. She finally lays it out. He crushed their 100-year record by soloing a first world boss in under a day, and class changers on that level basically never show up, so they have to claim him fast. Even with that, the CEO still looks unsure, and just as he starts to stall, Sojin, who's sitting at the table, gets up and starts speaking on Luo's behalf. Sujinya sides with her, saying if they bring him in now, they'll eventually be able to adjust his contract and line things up with his terms anyway. With both sisters backing him up, the guildmaster basically has no wiggle room left and signs off on bringing Luo into the guild. Meanwhile, Luo's staring at his screen, already crunching the numbers in his head, lining up the base salary with that crazy risk dungeon bonus. It looks just enough to keep his brother's treatment going without falling behind, so for the first time in a while his shoulders feel a bit lighter. Before he can even settle into that relief, his phone lights up again with another call. This time it's Sujin personally telling him to swing by the guild headquarters and officially clock in. Luo flat out turns it down, saying he'd rather handle everything remotely from home instead. bet. Sujin Naya is clearly losing patience on her end of the line, but it's obvious they're desperate to keep him, so she bites her tongue. Since they're actually in the same city and can meet up any time if needed, she sighs and gives in to his condition. After the call ends, Luo leans back and stretches, already eyeing future dives into those other worlds now that cash isn't feeling like a choking collar. Luo looks mentally locked in, fully ready to jump into the second world when it really counts, so he steps straight into the red portal without looking back. The system drops a notification telling him he's now in Norden Town, a so-called safe zone tucked inside the second world's fortress that's getting swarmed by undead. Everywhere he looks, it's zombie land, twisted-looking humans mutating all over the place. Same deal as the first world. He's got to clear 2 quests here, one secret realm and one where he tanks 3 full waves of enemies, then he can pull up on the boss. For now though, Luo is thinking he needs to grind levels first, since that secret realm locks you out under level 15, and while he's mapping out his grind route in his head, he catches this guy named Captain Norris, yelling for everyone to pick up the pace before the next wave hits, talking about how the zombies are hammering Norton and they're short on weapons to ship out. So even though Norton's listed as a safe zone, zombie waves still crash into it on the regular. Norris clocks Luo standing there and walks over, asking if he's down to run a material collection mission out west of Norton. Luo pulls up the quest window and sees that out of the 10 missions available, this one's tagged as the toughest, with enemies sitting between level 11 and 20. Still, that also means the rewards are looking pretty stacked. After thinking it through, Luo decides to take the offer and hop on board. Captain Norris actually seems relieved, tossing out a heavy thanks his way. The old army base sits way outside Norden, pretty much in no man's land. Now the whole place is overrun, zombies stumbling around everywhere you look. Luo steps through the broken gate with his scorpion pet trailing right behind him. He's locked in, fully ready to clear out every undead thing standing in his path. He leads with his go-to move and throws out a fireball toward the closest group. The blast hits dead on, but the zombies barely even flinch. He notices their bodies hold up against the flames like it's nothing, so he adjusts on the fly and swaps to a completely different approach and switches things up, deciding to cast his ice skill instead. After checking how these zombies move, he sends his armored scorpion in first to draw their aggro and eat the hits. He's sure the zombies can't really do anything to that tanky scorpion anyway, so while his pet keeps them locked down, he can safely delete them one at a time from the back. But it quickly becomes clear he didn't even need to stress because the scorpion is soloing these undead like it's nothing. It's effective, yeah, but the way bodies are getting crunched and tossed around just looks messy and low-key gross on screen. So he decides this is taking too long and steps in to handle things himself, and races his staff, figuring if fire wasn't landing right earlier, then cold damage is the smarter play. He fires off a single icy blast and the target instantly drops. Turns out the monster was actually a level 11 fire attribute zombie, which made it extra weak to his ice. And for wiping it out, all the system spits out is a handful of trash bronze coins, nothing worth bragging about. So he just mentally shrugs and goes, screw it, time to let loose. He charges straight into the horde and starts wiping everything in sight like he's farming on easy mode. A little while later, after freezing every zombie on the street into icy statues, he checks his haul and sees he's only stacked up 50 fire cores. Staring at that trash drop rate, he seriously starts thinking about bailing on this whole mission. After all that grinding, his stomach's yelling louder than the monsters, and he's debating logging out to grab food and come back later with snacks in hand. Right then, some insanely loud roar rips through the area. The ground shudders, walls shake, and his first thought is just pure confusion at what he's hearing. But it really doesn't take long for him to put 2 and 2 together. Sounds exactly like the signal for all the boss tier mobs to spawn back in. And sure enough, in the very next heartbeat, his vision locks onto the dungeon's boss lurking up ahead. Right there, his whole grind route reshuffles itself in his head. There is zero universe where he's walking away and not rolling for that boss chest. You can practically see the shine in his eyes, hungry for drops and reward screens. The moment his brain clocks possible legendary loot, he locks in on the target. Any thoughts about grabbing a snack or heading back to town get yeeted instantly. That rotten boss zombie twists its neck and locks its dead eyes straight on him. Without hesitating, the thing snaps forward and blasts out a wave of freezing energy. The ice slams into him hard, and for once the HP bar actually sinks. Just like that, he's staring down his first real problem in this second world. He and this Lord Zombie are rocking the exact same ice and fire skills, so our boy can't really squeeze out full damage with his kit. It's basically a hard counter that makes every hit feel painful to watch. After that, the zombie locks onto Louis' scorpion pet and deletes it on the spot. His pet now needs 3 full hours to respawn, which completely screws up his setup, because even juiced up with his necromancer buffs, there's zero chance he holds this boss off solo for that long. The whole game plan is falling apart. This boss is honestly built different, and he's starting to feel the pressure for real. Right as it all spirals, an unseen attacker strikes the boss from behind, and he spins around and spots her showing up out of nowhere, strolling in like she owns the place. Sujin doesn't even look his way, just keeps blasting out spells like she's on autopilot, fully locked in on holding the big mob still. That leaves him free to do what he does best, pour on damage and actually delete this boss for good. Right after lining things up, Sujin rushes forward and launches a clean fireball straight into the monster's body. At the same time, she fires off a ray of light that pins it in place, locking its movement hard. He just freezes there for a second, low-key stunned that she's juggling 3 skills at once with perfect control. This has to be what the taboo sorcerer class is really about. With backup now locked in beside him, he finally stops treating this like a warm-up and decides it's time to close things out. He dials up his strongest skill, going straight into his ultimate, and the two of them push forward together, unloading their abilities in perfect sync, finally cutting down that level 14 zombie and watching it fade out for good. After scooping up the drops, Lue thanks her for the backup and offers to split the loot, but Sujin just shrugs it off. She explains she only just got there to wrap up her own quests and happened to catch him soloing the zombie like a total maniac. She tells him it's actually her who owes him, not the other way around. He's low-key thrown off and brings up the fact that her sister already paid him for helping her out before. Even though they've crossed paths already, the girl decides to do it properly this time and straight up introduces herself as Sujin. That's when he figures he should say his own name too and gives a quick intro. Once that's out of the way, Lue realizes they're in the same guild, grinding the exact same quest. He recommends they squad up for it and asks what kind of class and skills she's running. As soon as he mentions that, Sujin lights up and starts buzzing about her build, talking about how all her crowd control skills are about to evolve into taboos, which means her buffs now hang around 30% longer, and on top of that, her skills come back 30% faster. He's just standing there thinking how broken her setup is going to be in future fights. Instead of chilling with her, he suddenly spins around and heads off in the other direction. Sujin watches him leave and is just wondering where he's even going. He tells her he's got to warp back to Nording for a quick detour, but says he'll swing back to link up with her in about 10 minutes. From the way she reacts, it really looks like Sujin's starting to fall for him, especially since she once said she'd marry whoever cleared her curse, but then she remembers that and gets flustered, immediately trying to shut those thoughts down. Over in Norden, Luo's going through his new loot, checking the gear and rewards he pulled earlier. He's cycling through gear, swapping pieces in and out like he's trying fits in front of a mirror. He throws on these slick ice and fire boots that add plus 10 agility, and honestly, they make him look kinda cracked. Sitting there, he starts wondering if his current skills are even enough to handle those higher level monsters, so he takes his flaming bullet ability and upgrades it, sharpening it into an even nastier version. He pops off a test shot, watches the numbers fly up on impact, and Luo instantly feels that boost, low-key gassed about how strong he's getting. Right then, a notification pops up on his screen, showing an invite from Sujin Yan asking him to join the guild. Since everything he needed in Norton is wrapped up, our boy taps accept and gets set to roll back. A little later, they're walking side by side, and Sujin is pointing out how solid Luo's strength is now. He hypes her up right back, saying the way she locks down enemies with her control skills is actually insane. Jin goes red in the face and quietly admits her sister was the one who designed all those skills for her, matching everything to her class. As they're still talking, Sujin starts getting nosy and throws out a question about whether he's secretly packing some legendary gear on him. He just gives a half smile and lets her think what she wants, fully aware that a class shifter doesn't awaken over something basic. Once they wipe out all the fire and ice zombies, they lock onto the next objective, poison cores, and start walking toward the poison zombie zone. Right then, both their systems ping with a crazy urgent guild alert telling them to get to headquarters ASAP or risk getting booted from the squad. Sujin's low-key lost on why they're being dragged in so hard, and he just asks who exactly fired off that message. After hashing it out for a bit, they agree to move and check out wherever this summons is calling them. Over at the spot, everything is straight chaos from top to bottom. While the rest are busy throwing hands with each other instead. Liu Yao's mixed into that mess too. At this point, he's clearly not expecting to bump into her again already, and on top of that, his own guildmates are all tangled up in a fight against her. To actually get why everything's scuffed like this, you've got to jump back to what was happening about an hour earlier. A huge swarm of zombies rolls into the area, and the squad gets absolutely torn up while trying to hold their ground. After all that, Sujin and the protagonist finally pull up to the battlefield together. Right away, the other players start talking trash under their breath, pointing at her, saying she's from the Su family, and throwing around that Ice Queen nickname. Then their eyes land on Luo, and they start clowning him too, saying yeah, he might have unlocked her curse, but he still looks weak and doesn't have any crazy high-level skills to show. After hearing them run their mouths, Sujin quickly clears the air, saying she's not cold like everyone claims, and tells Luo to just ignore whatever people have been saying about her. That's when his vibe flips. He notices the boy standing beside her, his smile disappears, and he jumps straight into asking who this guy is and why she's off alone with him. Chen Jun then lays it out. A massive zombie surge hit, and their squad urgently needs someone to take out the boss zombie leading the horde. Taking it in, Sujin quickly points out they should hunt down the zombie ace ASAP, since dropping it would massively help their guild. Hearing that, our boy steps up without hesitating, ready to jump in as a proper guild member, and Sujin is honestly stunned he volunteered so fast, but Chen Jun instantly shuts him down and blocks him from jumping in, just because he's got zero faith in Luo at all. To him, Luo's just some random beast tamer who slipped into the guild by luck, and in Chen's pro judgment, there's no way he can handle that zombie. Chen Jun starts freaking out a bit and tries to explain that he's only worried because Luo looks weak, and if she really wants him in the fight, then it's on her if he goes down since they won't be able to bail him out. Then Chen Jun grabs Sujin and starts pulling her toward the front line so she can lock down the zombie sovereign with her control. As he drags her off, Sujin looks back and tells Luo to hang tight till she's back. Meanwhile, Luo's already clocked that even with her locking it down, taking out a level 15 zombie like that is going to be painfully slow. And without even hesitating, she swings on Lin for running his mouth about the guys she likes. Meanwhile, Yao is scrambling, now hell-bent on turning our protagonist into one of his own, so he starts flexing hard, promising triple pay over Misty Rain Pavilion and even tossing out a Vice Guild leader or CEO spot on the table. Hearing all that, Sujin is about ready to explode, barely holding in how wild she thinks this is. Staring straight at Yao, Luol calmly says he considers him solid, but he's not switching sides while he still owes Misty Rain Pavilion finished missions. He just shrugs and says nobody really knows what's coming next anyway, so maybe down the line they'll actually end up grinding on the same side. That laid-back confidence really sticks with Yao, and he low-key admits he'd be down to have him in his guild if the timing ever lines up. While they're talking, one of Yao's guys suddenly yells out that they've got to hurry and delete the boss zombie now, or some other guild's going to steal the kill. Lu Yao's riding the high from how things just turned out, so he waves it off and decides he's not even going to sweat fighting over the boss this time. Once he dips out, Sujin immediately looks at our guy, clearly hyped, and tells him he seriously went crazy back there. Our boy just smirks and casually tells her it's nothing, basically treating it like no big deal at all. And right in that moment, the zombie, known as the King of Despair, shows up on the field. The instant he locks eyes on that thing, he completely freezes, staring it down in stunned silence. He gives a quick nod, locked in and ready. He and the squad move out, pushing straight toward the front line. He rushes into the swarm and instantly unleashes his huge fireball skill. The same people calling him useless a minute ago just freeze up, staring at him like they can't believe what they're seeing. While he's wiping out waves of zombies, he signals Sujin to stick to the setup they agreed on earlier. Power builds around his hands as he charges his next ability, a supercharged flaming bullet. The zombie King of Despair catches the hit full force, swallowed by the explosion. Its body just vanishes on the spot, wiped out like it was never there. All the nearby class shifters just stand there blank, locked in on him like background NPCs that stopped mid-script. At the same time, they're replaying in their heads how silent Lu Yao went respectful earlier, and now they're low-key wondering what level this guy actually is. Over by him, Sujin is quietly thanking our protagonist again for forcing the Supreme Guild to back off, because without him, that boss-tier zombie would have been yoinked on the spot. Lu Yao just brushes it away like it was nothing, saying that's simply what a guild member should do, keeping it calm and humble the whole time. The others around them start buzzing, saying he's the kind of player they want to copy and that they hope they can play at his level one day. The scene switches to them heading back along the road toward Norden, moving as a group through the fading light. While they walk, Sujin has her arm looped around Lu Yao's, leaning in close and talking to him in the soft teasing way. As soon as they step through the gates, Chen spots them side by side, and his whole expression twists up. He's clearly burning up inside as he forces himself to ask what happened to the zombie. One of his guys reports straight away that Sujin and Lu Yao actually finished the job and took down that zombie king, but Chen Jun just stands there refusing to accept it. So the guy lays it out straight, saying Lu Yao's way stronger than people think, and is about to become a massive piece for the guild in the future. Chen's ego starts flaring, and he just starts yelling at him like he's personally offended. He shoves a finger in Luo's face, snapping about how he ignored commands, and acting like that alone is enough reason to boot him from the guild. Luo casually knocks Chen's hand away and lays out the facts straight. He reminds him that Chen was the one who told him to sit back and ordered his own team to handle the zombie boss. And yeah, they did end up finishing it off just like Chen said. Hearing him clap back like that instantly sets Chen off, and his temper goes crazy. Then Sujin steps up beside Luo, backing him and pointing out they only managed to drop that boss zombie because of what he did. She makes it clear the guild should be giving him credit, not trashing him. Once that's said, Sujin grabs Luo by the arm and pulls him away, reminding him they still have quests on their list. Chen Jun's left standing there, low-key boiling inside, eaten up by bitterness and straight-up jealousy. He even sends his lackeys to tail Luo and dig up any weak spots they can find. Real sneaky villain behavior. Time skips ahead, and now Luo and Sojin are already deep inside the poison zombie sector. The whole area reeks so bad it's like the air itself went rotten. Luo tells Sojin to lock in, letting her know these poison monsters hit way harder than the ice and fire ones they fought before. She really doesn't get why they're that dangerous, so Luo lays it out for her, explaining that yeah, they don't have element powers, but that doesn't matter. The nasty tricks they do can still ruin you in seconds and basically wipe you off the map. Once he finishes spelling it all out, she passes him a reward item she scored for clearing that last guild mission. The story jumps ahead a few hours later, fast forwarding to the next scene, and this time they're running into poison type zombies. They're clearing them out without much trouble, mostly because everyone's synced up and playing their roles perfectly as they keep pushing ahead. Muo gets this gut feeling that someone's lurking and keeping tabs on them. Turns out it's actually one of Chen Jun's scouts, sliding updates that Luo's out here farming zombie cores side by side with the young Miss Sujin. On top of that, their back and forth teasing and joking makes it obvious they're getting real comfortable around each other. After hearing all that, Chen just gets even more heated, knowing Sujin has never been that relaxed or chatty with him, and honestly, it makes sense. He's got the energy of soggy cardboard. One of his guys quietly throws out the idea that the only real way to split them up is to find an excuse to boot Luo from the guild. While they're out there, the game system suddenly blasts a warning to every class shifter on the map. It lets them know a level 13 zombie horde is heading their way fast. Back in town, Chen's standing there with this weird greasy grin stuck on his face. In his head, he's already plotting some some dirty move to finally get Luo tossed out of the guild. He knows that in this second world, once a horde event starts, the safety barrier on shifters disappears, so he plans to use the chaos to quietly get rid of Luo. The view cuts back to Luo. He and Sujin, basically his future wife at this point, are grinding down poison zombies non-stop, just a couple of kills away from clearing the quest. But of course, the game refuses to let it be simple, because that incoming horde is set to slam into the area in 30 minutes, and the countdown is on. Luo is still dialed in on farming when a poison zombie suddenly respawns right beside him and sinks its teeth into his shoulder. It all happens in a split second, way before Sujin can fire off her control skill. Luo whirls around and drives his blade straight up through the zombie's jaws, but the ugly thing already landed its hit. His arms ripped open, and he can feel the poison creeping through his body. Shy Mommy rushes over freaking out, checking on him, but he just pushes himself back to his feet, brushes off the dirt, and tells her to dip out first. He acts like that venom is nothing more than a random debuff he'll walk off later. With the boss down, the system window pops up, quest complete. Sujin's screen flashes, and she dings up to level 16. Right after, Luo's name lights up too as he climbs to level 17. She quietly points out he could have already pushed past this and been sitting at level 20 by now. That is, if he'd stopped funneling almost all his hard-earned XP straight into that scorpion. Luo couldn't care less about the gap. To him, the scorpion is his main project and it's gotta be upgraded. He goes to the drops from the poison zombies, checking what he actually pulled. He cops a pair of explosion-resistant leggings for himself, solid stat boost. His tamed scorpion even gets hooked up with explosion-resistant armor, fully geared out. He pauses for a second, wondering why zombies would ever need blast protection in the first place. It seriously feels like he just logged into some Michael Bay DLC, because none of this makes sense anymore. Off to the side, Sujin's locked in, prepping hard for the incoming horde event. Right as she's getting set, a notification pops up on her screen. It's from Sujin In, calling her back to the office where her sister's already waiting. She suddenly thinks something must be wrong and quickly tells our boy she has to bounce. Then it hits her that if she leaves, Luo's stuck soloing this whole horde event by himself, and the stress shows all over her face. Luo still tells her to go now, warning her that once the event kicks off, the system hard locks everyone in until it's over. She's stressing hard, knowing the zombie horde is level 13 and it's basically thousands stacked against them. Luo just stays calm and tells her not to stress about him at all. She logs off anyway, convinced in the back of her mind that he's basically walking into a death screen. Then the horde event kicks off. The system hard locks everyone into the game. No logging off, no rage quit button, nothing. Out of nowhere, a massive light column crashes down into the ground, and undead start flooding out like some nightmare portal just got torn open. The waves keep rolling in non-stop like they're never going to end. All the other players start freaking out and losing formation, no one knowing what to do. Luo finally catches on that you can't beat a fight where the zombies literally never stop spawning. For Luo to get through this, he knows he has to drag them out of the protection zone and force them to fight for real. While he's running different plays in his head, his inbox gets spammed with panic messages from nearby players begging him to come save them. He pulls up on the spot and sees a couple of guys already laid out on the pavement, barely moving. Off to the side, Chen is tucked into a shadowy corner, and it's instantly clear the whole setup is a trap. One of Chen's goons is checking Luo's profile window, confident because Luo's defense doesn't look too crazy. While they've stashed 12 archers deep in the back alley, they seriously think a dozen bowheads are enough to finish him. But the plan's even grimmier than that. Chen doesn't just want Luo dead one time. He wants to sit on the respawn point and grief kill him on loop, over and over, just out of pure spite. All because Luo so much has interacted with Sujin, and Chen walks around acting like he has permanent rights over her. Lu is posted up in the tight alley when all 12 archers let their arrows fly at once. It should be instant death, but his scorpion drops in like a summoned monster and tanks every arrow with its own body. The thing is a straight legend. A new alert slams onto Luo's screen. For the next 10 minutes, he can drop players with 0 death punishments, like the system just handed him a free KO pass. He turns his eyes on Chen and his crew, giving off this energy that their fun is done, and it is officially his turn to run the lobby. Everyone watching can tell these dudes are about to find out the hard way. Why trying to run games on the main character is never a smart move. Luo instantly locks in and goes full send, wiping all 12 archers off the map before the countdown even hits 9 minutes left. Chen Jun just stands there frozen, mouth hanging open, completely rattled by what he is seeing. He spins on the spot and starts raging at the teammate who sold him on this brilliant trap, but then comes the twist. That clown honestly had no idea how strong Luo really is either, because none of them bothered to scout or check stats. While they are busy flaming each other and panicking, Neidhart Common strolls up on them calm, like he has all the time in the world, and just stops right right in front of their squad. He throws it right back at them, reminding them they were the ones who tried to off him first. He makes it clear they really thought it'd be that easy to finish him, and that's where they sold themselves out. Chen just stands there lost, not understanding how Luo even picked up on their setup. Luo gives this calm smirk and breaks down how, ever since he soloed the Zombie King boss, Chen Jun's been sending watchers to tail him non-stop. He clocked the spies from day one, but stayed quiet and acted helpless on purpose just to see what kind of dumb stunt they'd pull. That's when it finally hits Chen that he got finced. Luo made them relax by pretending to be some weak, irrelevant player. Lu straight up admits he never intended to throw hands at first and only wanted to sit back and let them clown themselves. But Chen Jun, stubborn rich boy who refuses to eat an L, still raises his bow at Luo even with death breathing down his neck. His fingers barely start to draw the string back. Luo was already there, cutting through the air and snapping the arrow apart with his frostblade like it's nothing. One of Chen's lackeys, this so-called top-tier assassin, finally steps out of the crowd and full sends it straight at Luo like he's about to clutch some MVP highlight. Luo doesn't even bother to square up or flex his skills. He just shrugs, snaps off a fireball and deletes him on the spot one cast, straight back to lobby. Chen's brain is basically lagging now, staring at Luo in total disbelief, silently asking who this guy even is anymore. Luo walks past him without hesitating and finishes him off right there. No extra animation, no mercy. In that moment, it's clear Luo is the one dude Chen never should have picked a fight with. Cut to the respawn hub, where Chen's whole crew starts popping back in, one after another, looking cooked. A system message flashes across their HUD, taken out by player ID 0. The whole squad just goes quiet. It finally clicks. Luo isn't some random grinder. He's the necromancer, that mystery player who soloed the first world boss in a single day. Chen Jun respawns heated, finally realizing he just tried to grief the most broken player on the whole server. He's raging in chat about how he's going to get payback, like the first L he took wasn't embarrassing enough already. While he's molding online, real life is hitting just as hard for Sinem Jin Yan. She's sitting in the Swine family office while the elders casually decide she's gonna marry Jin Jun, this useless rich kid, without even asking her. She shuts it down right away, straight up rejecting him in front of everyone. Chen Jun's dad just leans back like her words mean nothing and tells her she'll grow to like his son whether she wants to or not. Then he starts showing off the engagement gifts. A demon-themed outfit and a mythic-grade magic potion, together worth 13 million Yara. He piles on, promising she'll get made a vice president in their company and inherit the whole thing once she marries his son. Suin keeps it respectful but doesn't budge, clearly refusing the offer. Her uncle Su instantly loses his cool at that answer, who immediately starts snapping at her like she just betrayed the whole family. That is when her older sister finally jumps in and completely lets loose. She lays it out that her sister is a person, not some deal on a contract, and to stop treating her like one. She looks Sujin in the eye and promises she's on her side, backing her chase for real happiness no matter what. Right then, Mr. Chen's phone starts buzzing and he picks up. On the call, he hears that Chen Jun just got dropped in-game by Zhang Yu. He ends the call and instantly blows up, shouting about how his son, the guildmaster and big money backer of Su Corporation, is under attack. CEO Su edges in, trying to steady him and cool the situation down, but Mr. Chen just refuses to relax and warns that if anything happens to his son, people are going to pay for it. He then storms out of the room and slams the door behind him like he is walking off a drama set. Now CEO Su suddenly aims his anger at his two nieces, blaming them because they were the ones who brought Liu into the guild in the first place. Sujin tries to cover for him, saying if Liu really did take out Chen Jin, there has to be a reason behind it. But CEO Su isn't listening at all. He orders them to haul Liu back, make him bow to the Chen family, and says if he won't, he's out of Misty Rain Pavilion on the spot. Right in the middle of all their yelling, Sujin's phone starts buzzing with a call from Liu. Her nerves spike instantly, and she's asking non-stop if he actually finished off Chen Jun. Liu doesn't bother giving her an answer to that. He just drops the news that he's quitting Misty Rain Pavilion. Sujin's freaking out over the line, begging him to stay and saying she'll find some way to clear his reputation. But he's already checked out of that whole mess, tells her to leave it alone, and ends the call. In his head, he can already see Chen Jun raging and plotting payback, so sticking around in Misty Rain Pavilion is completely off the table. Now he's stuck with a new headache. He needs to pull together 50,000 yuan fast to cover his brother's hospital fees, so his whole grind shifts to stacking rare materials and selling them off for real money. But the only place that drops the kind of loot he needs is the third world. To even get there, he has to tank 2 more zombie tides and clear a dungeon run. Then he'll unlock a shot at the second world's lord boss. There are 3 different dungeons on the map, but he locks on to the hardest one right away, betting everything on high danger for high payout. With where his stats are at now, level 20 mobs just fold under him like it's a warm-up run. Right then, a few strangers roll up, trying to act like they own the place. They start labeling him the so-called beast tamer, throwing the title at him like it's something to clown. Lua's already bored of their energy but keeps it calm, just telling them to step aside so he can pass. Instead, they double down, running their mouths about how useless he is, and even straight up asking him to take them out. That's the moment Luo realizes what kind of idiots he's dealing with. He doesn't dance around it, and straight up demands to know how much Chen Jun's paying them. One of the dudes actually spills. Chen Jun's throwing them 5,000 yuan each, a revive scroll, and another 5,000 if they let Luo kill them. Luo can't help himself and cracks up, because Chen Jun's literally trying to bait him into becoming a full-time peaker, even though he could delete these level 10 scrubs half asleep. But if he does that, his name goes red, and once you're carrying a red tag, you're basically locked in. No logging out, no safe zones to chill in, no boss raids, nothing until you grind down every last sin point. It's a full-on setup. That's when Yao strolls in and calmly drops the bomb that he's putting up $50,000 for whoever takes out Chen Jun instead. The whole squad goes silent, and one of Yao's people fills them in that he's the eldest son of the Luo family, easily the wealth kings of Linhai City. In a heartbeat, everyone flips sides, starts calling him Master Yao, and gets hyped to chase Chen Jun like it's a daily quest. Loyalty in this server is clearly paper thin. Yao looks over at Luo and checks whether he really got tossed from Misty Rain Pavilion, since Chen Jun's been flexing that story all over. Luo just gives a shrug, basically brushing it off and calling out Chen for running his mouth too much. So Yao finally steps up, throws Luo an invite to his guild, and even tells him he can set whatever terms he wants. Luo shuts it down on the spot, says he's staying solo for now, then turns around and leaves without looking back. One of Yao's teammates is heated that Luo didn't even say thanks after they helped, but Yao actually respects that attitude and understands where Luo's coming from. In his head, it's obvious why Luo wouldn't trust any guild after getting betrayed, and Yao even calls Misty Rain Pavilion dumb for dropping a carry like him. At the same time, Luo knows Chen Jun isn't letting this go, so he has to grind levels fast before things snowball. Next scene, Luo is posted up outside a level 15 dungeon called Dark Corpse Forest. He picked it on purpose because everyone else chases higher level raids for better drops, so this one's almost dead. Once he walks in, an NPC mage named Moore shows up in front of him. Moore checks him over and wants to know if he's really ready to clear out the dark undead nest. Luo silently confirms, and the mage hands him an entry token, sending him off with a bit of luck. This is where it gets interesting, because Luo already knows he can refine that token into a golden one, flipping the normal dungeon into a hidden run. The catch is the success chance is trash, and it burns through stamina like crazy, so almost nobody even tries it. But Luo isn't almost nobody. He locks in and goes for it anyway. At the same time, the squad Chen Jun sent after Luo has totally given up the chase, now sprinting away like NPCs who just aggroed the wrong boss. And over in town, Chen Yun's stressing hard because his respawn scroll is on cooldown for another 5 days. He's fully spiraling now, brain frying just thinking about being stuck that long. Right then, a system banner blasts across the sky. Some mystery player just popped a hidden dungeon, open to all for the next 2 hours. Chen Jun sees it and flips in a good way, because hidden dungeons spit out busted rewards, including free revives. He instantly tells his squad to gear up and move out. To him, this run feels like a surprise holiday drop. Luo catches the same notice and his mood shoots up too, seeing it as the perfect shot he's been waiting on, blasting a full guild order for every supreme member to rush into that dungeon. By then, Luo is already locked in, way down inside the instance. He's mowing through waves of zombies, bodies dropping like it's casual X-grind. He's got one clear win condition for getting through this place. First, he has to take out the dungeon's front door guardian. This thing's a level 15 boss stacked with stupid high stats, busted magic, chunky defense, and brutal hits up close. The game flashes a big red warning on his screen, basically saying turn back, but Luo isn't the type to back off a challenge. At this point, he's absolutely shredding that boss. No hesitation, swinging non-stop heavy footsteps, every hit landing clean. Right in the middle of that fight, a system ping throws up a notice that a huge squad of challengers just entered the dungeon. He'd called this from the start, knew this place was open to anyone, no ticket or secret item needed to walk in. With a doorway that free, of course Chen Jun was going to roll up with his whole squad. He guesses Sujin and Liu Yao are probably headed over too, but in his head, Chen Jun is the only target that really matters. He doesn't feel like involving extra people in a personal grudge, and since he's holding that golden secret decree, things are about to get real different. With it, Liu Yao basically got 3 shots to bend the dungeon rules how he wants, and he decides this is the perfect time to burn the first one. Outside the entrance, the whole scene is messy. Guilds ramming into each other, arguing and fighting for control of the run. In the middle of all that, Chen Jun is over there getting all handsy with Sujin like they're in their own little drama. She's clearly not into it at all, only paying attention to finding the main guy, while Chen Jun keeps pushing it like he can't see the energy. Right then, brand new system rules suddenly pop up on everyone's HUD, and that one free revive scroll they all counted on just straight up disappears. A fresh objective hits next. To clear this place now, every party has to rack up a combined total of 500 zombie kills. Chen Jun completely flips out when he sees the dungeon rules switch up, roaring about who had the guts to hijack his run. One of the guild goons tosses out the idea that it's probably Luo, rigging the settings just to keep Chen locked outside. Chen hard refuses to accept it, thinking there's no chance Luo scored a golden secret order, and even if he did, who would burn that much alternate energy just to troll him? Sujin, though, is sitting calm in her chair, watching him rant, and deep down, she's convinced this petty setup screams Luo. Chen keeps brushing it off, shouting that whoever touched the rules is only scared somebody else will steal their drops first. After that, he switches gears and starts sweet-talking, promising Sujin he'll charge in and protect her inside the instance. She stares him down for a second, then basically tells him to handle his own problems first. Fired up, Chen barges through the player crowd, elbowing past bodies as he beelines for the dungeon door. Right before he steps in, one of his guildmates tugs his attention over and calls out something insane. The gatekeeper boss is already down, wiped out before Chen even touched the portal. That's when Luo finally shows up on screen again. He's literally perched on the corpse of that boss like it's his personal gaming chair. Sujin spots him and her whole expression levels up, super relieved. Meanwhile, Chen Jun suddenly clocks that Luo's been the one bending all the rules this entire run. Luo hops down from the boss's body and starts walking straight at their group, slow and clean. He calls Chen Jun out right then, saying he's been hunting for his head this whole time, so we might as well try it now, and that's when it finally clicks for Chen. The entire situation was staged from the start, and he's already standing in the middle of the trap. Instantly, he panics and ducks behind his own guildmates, tossing out Su Chen's name and bragging about her backing so Luo won't dare touch him. He even goes as far as telling Su Chen to lock Luo down so they can mob him together, but she just turns him down on the spot. She leaves it on him, making it clear he started this drama, so he's the one who has to face it. With nothing else he can do, Chen tells his squad to go hit Luo, but the whole group hesitates. Nobody steps up after watching this guy solo that boss. No one wants to be next. Chen realizes fear isn't working, so he throws out a bounty of 5,000 yuan per head for anyone who manages to take Luo down. The second they hear the payout, their attitudes flip. Suddenly everyone's locked in because cash always talks. In the next moment, they all charge at Luo together, trying to swarm him and hope numbers save them. Luo just walks forward calm and steady, cutting through Misty Pavilion members like it's regular business, bodies dropping on both sides of him, and the whole fight feels to him like some low-level starter mission. While Luo is busy clearing out the disposable grunts, Chen Jun spots his chance and yells for the rest of his team to abandon Luo and focus fire the dungeon boss instead. Luo's scorpion swarm suddenly spreads out in front of the gate, walling off the whole dungeon entrance. One gutsy dude from the crowd steps forward, hyped up, announcing he'll solo that scorpion. He raises his blade and brings it down hard. The weapon basically explodes on impact, completely busted against the scorpion's hard shell. Right after that, the whole situation ramps up again. Arrows start pouring in from a distance, specifically tearing into the Misty Pavilion lineup. At the same time, somebody is shouting about a 20,000 yuan bounty for every Misty Pavilion player dropped, and nobody has a clue who's putting that cash on the table. Nobody even stops to think about it. The two sides just snap and a full-scale guild brawl kicks off. Luo stays planted right there in the center of all the chaos with this calm, clean, completely unbothered look on his face like he's just watching content, just sitting back, taking in this wild lobby brawl like he's front row at some live drama. Luo Yao walks up calm, telling him to chill since he's ready to wipe that rival guild by himself. But Yao isn't hyped to see Supreme Guild at all. His whole vibe is annoyed, like he came here for payback, not for some backup squad. Chen Jun blows up at him, yelling why Supreme Guild is even targeting them when there was never any feud. Luo Yao doesn't bother explaining the real setup and just says he heard Misty Rain's guildmaster throws money at every problem, so he wanted to check if Chen's wallet really goes that hard. Then he straight up puts a bounty on Chen's head, offering his own guild brothers 1 million yuan to take out their leader. The field goes quiet. Everyone pauses like lag kicked in. You can almost see them calculating that cash in their heads. Chen Jun freaks, warning them that if they turn on him, both the Chen family and the Su family will hunt them down. It's actually wild, because he really thinks loyalty stands a chance against 1 million yuan. Right as that tension peaks, the ground suddenly starts rumbling, and this gigantic boss monster explodes out into the middle of the battlefield. Lu Yao checks the system info and figures out the monster's completely gone wild, learning that boss-type mobs can snap like that if their HP keeps getting drained non-stop, and he already knows what triggered it. All those arrows the Supreme Guild kept spamming earlier just kept chipping away at an already wounded demon, forcing its level down bit by bit until it finally lost it, and honestly, that one's totally on them. They basically birthed a raid boss on the spot, and the system even calls it out loud, upgrading it straight into a level 17, 3-star boss fight. The display tags its name as a dark, undead tyrant, something that clearly shouldn't be spawning this early in the run. Lu Yao glances up at the monster's full form and his whole face stiffens, his eyes giving away that he's genuinely scared. Right when the undead tyrant finally moves for the first time, the air around it shifts like the whole dungeon just hit hard mode. At that instant, another system notice pops and tells everyone that thanks to the mess it caused, the secret realm entrance has turned into an open exit, and any player can run if they're not trying to die here. Hearing that option, Chen Jun's expression changes fast, his eyes suddenly bright like he just saw a way out. Instead of bolting, this coward rushes the raging boss and starts attacking it like he's going all in. He times it just right, coming in from the angle where Lu Yao has been standing, using Lu Yao's side as his approach lane, trying to swap the boss's hate onto him as payback. Low blow for sure, but the level of petty's kinda impressive. Somehow, it actually goes through. The buffed up beast hard switches and targets Yao. While Yao's over there yelling for someone to bail him out, Luo blasts out his pet scorpion, sending it in to pull Yao's dumb self out of danger, even though he can see this enraged boss is about to chunk his scorpion for ridiculous damage. At the same time, Chen Jun is just walking off toward the portal like it's a chill Sunday, tossing out this cocky line about how they'll need 10,000 years if they ever plan on taking him down. Luo is dying inside to sprint after him and run his fade, but if he bails on Yao right now, Yao's 100% getting deleted. That thing is about to rip Chen Jun to pieces right in front of everyone. Lu Yao hesitates for half a beat, brain working on overtime. Then, Lua suddenly bolts in front of Lu Yao, throwing himself between him and the boss. He fires off his ice cone spell straight at the demon, locking the demon lord's body in thick ice. Using that tiny window, he yanks Yao back and drags him out of the boss's strike range. The frozen shell shatters a second later, and the monster snaps free, swinging right at them. They both react on instinct and slip past the attack, barely getting out of the way. But with it being a level 17 boss, Lua's damage numbers are pathetic, barely scratching its HP bar. That basically leaves them with just one way forward. Lu Yao realizes he has to solo this thing himself, going at it like he's completely unhinged. Luo fires off his combustion missiles, flaming projectiles streaking straight toward the boss. Yao shouts at his squad to jump in and back Luo up, but his whole crew just stands frozen, too scared to even take a step. They're all parked on the sidelines like NPCs, watching Luo fight for his life instead of actually earning their spot in the guild. While they hesitate, the boss demon suddenly surges forward with crazy speed, catching Luo off guard and tearing into his shoulder with a brutal swipe. Luo hits the ground hard, gritting his teeth as it finally sinks in that this thing's way out of his league if he keeps playing it like before. He's gotta switch tactics fast. There's no time to think it through either, he needs a new plan on the spot. The boss raises its weapon, about to bring it down and end him right there. At the last second, Sujin slides into the frame from behind, locking the monster in place with her control skills. She throws in her abilities from a safe range, locking down its movement so Luo can stay in front and focus purely on dealing damage. Just like that, their rhythm syncs up, and you can tell this duo actually works insanely well together in a real fight. The boss's HP bar finally starts melting in real time, every hit making its health chunk down for once. The crowd around them basically goes crazy, staring as these two are actually throwing hands with a 3-star boss. Lu Yao clocks Sujin instantly, knowing she's the Su family's heir and a control mage, but even with her there, he understands deep down that he's still the only one on this field who can actually secure the kill. In his head, he's thinking that if he and the real protagonist were teamed up right now, this boss would have been farmed into the ground a long time ago. The urge to pull them both into Supreme Guild spikes. Now he wants Lu and Sujin on his roster, while his own guildmates are silently like there's no way. Those two are playing on a whole different level. On the front line, Lu and Sujin stay locked in, dumping everything they've got into the demon like they're speedrunning the fight. After grinding it down through a rough, drawn-out clash, the undead tyrant's HP dips into the danger zone, low enough that one last clean hit could finally end it. Right then, Lu suddenly drops the info that he's been the hidden anonymous player this whole time. Sujin's face dips for a heartbeat, her expression sliding into clear disappointment. After running it through her head for a second, she stops hesitating. She gathers everything boiling inside her and unleashes this huge blast of burning light. The beam slams into the boss and deletes it instantly. Every player on the field suddenly gets hit with a level up pop-up. The system drops a clear notification notification for Sujin beating the secret realm and hands her a level 15 realm scroll on top. Supreme Guild's dudes start hyping it up, screaming and jumping like they just won finals. Lucen rushes over and goes in for a grateful hug on the hero who just saved him. Luisa reacts on instinct and pushes him off, snapping that it's his fault Chen Jun slipped out untouched. He keeps talking, saying Yao is just going to bring him trouble later on. Lucen tries to smooth everything over by dropping a $1 million offer on the table, and it just ticks Lucen off even more, wondering if this guy has anything to bring besides his wallet. Yao stays fully confident and flexes that he's got the blueprint to build the strongest guild with top-tier players, which is why he keeps chasing after our hero to join up. On top of that, he brings up how his dad owns a giant pharma company and promises Ludo endless potions for life, but Ludo basically sends him packing. As our boy turns away, Lu Jiao, clearly still banged up, keeps pushing, saying they're plugged in with the top blacksmith clan in the Dragon Kingdom, the Shu clan, and a major mage family too. The moment Yao drops the Su family name, Lu Jiao suddenly stops, low-key locked in by what he just heard. Lu Xiao breaks down that his dad and the Su family patriarch go way back, so getting any gear they want is basically free access. Lu Jie runs the numbers in his head and knows blacksmith-made gear absolutely bodies the cheap store stuff he's been stuck using. Lu Xiao, pretty much in full golden retriever mode now, says that even if Lu doesn't sign with the guild, he'll still help him grab gear whenever he asks. Just like that, the deal's locked. Our hero and Sujin head for the exit side by side, while Yao and his squad stay behind, waving them off like a pack of sad puppies. Back in the safe zone, a bunch of random players are huddled up, whispering about how busted Sujin is and how wild her power is for an epic class. Chen Jun, chilling not far away, starts acting cocky, bragging that she's actually part of his guild. One of his followers then rushes over to report that Sujin just finished off the boss demon, which means Luo made it out alive too. Chen Jun's temper spikes instantly, and now he's even more locked in on the idea of taking Lu out. His guide calmly reminds him that won't be so easy anymore, since Luo's power level shot up and he's got Supreme Guild in his corner. That's when something clearly clicks in Chen Jun's mind, his whole expression shifting like he just cooked up a plan. He gets to his feet and says he can just outsource the hit instead. He knows a few level 30 veterans stuck in the third world who'd have no problem handling Luo. All that's left now is to sit tight and wait for Luo to step into the third world. The scene then swaps over to Luo and Sujun walking side by side. She's quietly stressing that he might lump her in with his enemies too, just because Chen Jun's out here trying to hunt him down. Luo faces her and makes it clear that Chen Jun is the only target in his sights, but if Misty Pavilion decides to back that clown, he's ready to throw hands with their whole squad too. Sujin lets him know their guild's not stepping into that mess, and on top of that, she's got zero love for Chen Jun herself. After that, she casually hands over every drop from the boss to Luo, since all she really did was land the last shot. Luo stashes the loot, already thinking about how the extra stats and skills are going to level up his kit. Right then, a fresh world notification lights up the sky like a giant system ping. It announces an incoming horde of level 15 zombies swarming Norton University as the next key event. The two of them instantly lock in, fired up knowing this is the final quest they need before they can step into the third world. Even with the hype, Sojin looks tense, saying they should gear up and plan properly before diving into that chaos. Before they can move, Lin suddenly rushes over, blowing past Sujin and heading straight for Luo. She drops her pride and begs him to let it go, admitting she finally understands how badly she messed up. Now she suddenly shows up trying to say sorry after all that. Yeah, this is about to get interesting. Luo just stands there, low-key confused, wondering what kind of drama Lin is trying to cook up right now. On cue, she cranks it up. Eyes shiny, voice all shaky, acting like she's the victim and crying about how Lua ditched her. Off to the side, Sujin is watching with her face tight, jealousy and irritation all over her eyes. In her head, she's basically calling Lin out, wondering why she'd crawl back now after tossing him aside like trash. Lin doesn't even acknowledge her and flips straight into full-on manipulation mode. She stares up at Lua with those practiced puppy eyes, admitting she looked down on him before, and acting like any girl would want her guy stacked with cash. Now that he's actually popping off in the game, she hints that they can just hit resume on whatever they had before. Luo's lips curl up into this small, unreadable smile. Sujin catches that little change on his face, and you can tell her pupils tighten because she is not okay with where the scene might head. Right then, the whole vibe gets shredded by these ugly zombie roars rolling in from every direction. You can tell it's not just a small pack either. It legit sounds like half the graveyard sprinting straight toward them. Lin instantly freaks out, yelling that they've got to jump in and fight, while Luo just shuts her down and tells her to keep quiet. Sujin's already dialed in, feet planted and weapon up, ready to throw down with whatever undead wave shows up first. Luo shoots Lin a sideways look, his face gone ice cold, and calmly tells her to bounce because he wants her out of his life for good. Lin just stands there stunned, staring at him like she doesn't recognize him, thinking the Zhengyu she knew would never come at her like that. Truth is, that old version of Zhengyu was probably running on terrible taste anyway, and now he finally knows better. While Lin's still stuck in her feelings, Sujin's already in motion, blades flashing as she carves through the closest zombies. Even with her going crazy on them, there are just way too many undead bodies pressing in from every angle. Realizing it's getting out of hand, she glances back and shouts for support, and without hesitating, Luo sends his pet scorpion skittering over to guard her flank. Even while he's busy carving through the zombie wave himself, he suddenly catches Lin's voice, screaming like she's about to die for real. The camera pulls over to her, boxed in with undead piling toward her from every angle. Out of straight reflex, Sujin's ready to dash in and help, because underneath it all, she's not cold-hearted. But our guy cuts her off, holding her back, deciding out loud that this is Lin lying in the bed she made, and they're not saving her this time. It comes off brutal, sure, but you can't even say it's unfair as the zombies crash into Lin and start mauling her. Watching from a distance, they realize she's not popping any revive scrolls, most likely because her inventory is empty. A few heartbeats later, the undead swarm fully over her and she disappears under the feeding frenzy. Luo just turns away and tells Sujin they need to stay locked in and stick to the mission. Deep down, though, he's still carrying everything that used to be Zhengyu. All those old memories keep popping up in his head, so what's going on inside definitely isn't simple. The zombie tide finally crashes through, pouring straight into Norden City like a total server wipe, so Luo and Sujin have to lock down a safe spot and ride this whole nightmare out. In the middle of all this, he's already thinking about that hidden tunnel from his last mission. Knowing things are about to get way more serious, he tells Sujin to heal up and get ready, and she's clearly stressing over him since, unlike Lin, she actually cares about other people. Our main guy then rips open a portal, deciding he's got something else he needs to handle first before anything else. Sujin wants to tag along, but he doesn't let it happen and just heads out on his own. After roaming around for a while, he ends up in front of another secret realm, ready to see what this one's hiding, and the game casually drops the name of the place, Undead Hospital. Super wholesome vibe. He rolls up thinking there's only one play here, wipe this whole creepy dungeon clean. The second he steps inside, he calls out his armored scorpion, and the two of them clock in for straight extermination duty. Every undead that shows up just ends up even more dead than before. After what legit feels like a whole grind session on fast forward, he finishes the second world mission with his scorpion carrying hard, and dings level 19 by the time they're done. At this point, all that's left blocking his full second world clear is the final boss demon waiting at the end, so he pours an absurd amount of energy points into his scorpion like he's upgrading a raid carry for endgame content. The thing jumps straight to legendary rank, turning into a monster you'd never want to see in a dark corridor. On top of that, he's scooped up a stash of solid gear lying around the area, and with the free loot secured, he heads back to deal with the last zombie horde. He gets a ping from Sujin asking if he wants to go hit the boss diamond now that the zombie waves are finally wiped. Lu Yao drops a message too, adding that the boss diamond's sitting at level 23 star. Luo knows Sujin would go crazy in that fight. She's already proved she can handle pressure, but he can't turn his back on Lu Yao after everything the guy did for him. So Luo drops a group message telling both of them to meet at the Undead Emperor's gate in 15 minutes. They're both down, and it's clear the next big boss run is a full squad move. Out near Norden City, everyone links up like they said they would, except Lu Yao pulls in rolling with his whole guild behind him. Sujin sees that crowd, and Loki wonders if Yao plans on storming the place like he's taking over a server. Yao just laughs it off, saying even if their leader, yeah, he means Luo, could probably clear the dungeon solo. It's smarter to have backups if things turn ugly. Luo knows arguing won't change anything and just lets it ride. Right then, a big system alert slides into his view, hitting everyone with the question of whether they're ready to trigger the final boss fight. The second, our protagonist, taps confirm on the mission. A glowing portal snaps open right in front of them, lighting up the place with that over-the-top cutscene energy. Luo and Sujin step in first without hesitating, moving like they're the leads of this whole game, and Luo Yao barks at his squad to jump in behind them. They all walk through the rift together, and instantly end up squared up against the final boss, a level 23 star rank Undead Emperor. This thing's huge, making that first world boss look like a tiny yapping dog standing next to it. Everyone just locks up, hearts dropping, low-key wondering if this was a mistake and if any of them are making it out alive. Luo takes point at the front, standing there like it's obvious he's the main character. He waves the others back, telling them to stay clear of this freak of a monster. After that, he calls out his pet scorpion, and it feels like the soundtrack just switched to final boss mode. With all the time he spent no-lifing that first secret realm and stacking EXP and pet eggs like his inventory's a storage unit, The boss's level isn't actually that far above the scorpion anymore, so he's walking in fully kitted and ready. The boss zombie opens its mouth and drops some cringe line about letting them taste death, but the dude's body is literally falling apart and his breath has to be illegal. The battle snaps to life right after, and everything instantly turns into a full-on scramble. The armored scorpion launches straight at the boss, claws and stinger locked in. At the same time, Luol fires off a massive fireball spell, and it hits way harder now, boosted by all the new gear and fresh stat upgrades he's sitting on. Taking on this boss now actually feels doable instead of straight up throwing their lives away like it would have a few days back. The demon swings down and smashes its giant hand into the floor, cracking the whole ground wide open. Creepy tentacles shoot out from underneath, like the place had been saving its worst surprise for this exact moment. The game clearly decided a simple boss fight was too easy and went full nightmare mode instead. Players start bolting in every direction, yelling as they dive and roll to avoid getting grabbed. Right in the middle of the chaos, the scorpion and the demon clash hard, trading blows like they've been waiting to fight forever. Before long, the armored scorpion starts eating heavy hits, and its HP bar chunks down fast. Its shells cracked, movements staggered, and it's clearly about 1 or 2 bad hits away from dropping. Liu Yao sprints in with a squad of guildmates, throwing every heal and support skill they've got of the scorpion. Somehow, they stabilize it and keep it standing, proving dragging the full guild along might have actually been a smart play. Just as the monster winds up an attack that would pretty much delete our protagonist in a single hit, the pet scorpion cuts in front and tanks the blow for him, loyal to the very end, like it's trying to unlock the MVP achievement. Sujin instantly slams the boss with her control skills, going all out to freeze it in place. Instead, the monster snaps and goes into full rage mode, way madder than it was a second ago. She's shouting for our hero to move now, because holding this undead emperor still is wrecking her, and her whole body's probably shaking. The boss demon actually calls them filthy and gross, which is wild coming from something literally falling apart and rotten. Luol mentally drifts for a beat, clearly having that inner talk with himself, then locks back in, and straight up decides this so-called emperor is nothing but trash to him. After that, he unloads everything, dumping every spell, every skill, every last chunk of power he's got stored up. The boss's HP bar instantly drops by about half, and the whole squad just freezes, stunned at how insane that one hit was. With everyone watching, he starts stacking power again, clearly winding up for the finishing blow. He throws out one final strike, putting everything he's got into it, and the boss just gets deleted on the spot. Its huge body slams down, rattling the whole place like an earthquake. Sujin and Liu Yao jump in, hyping him up for the clutch finish. They bombard him, trying to figure out how he even pulled that off. Did his stats secretly level up? While a system alert drops, saying the undead emperor is getting judged by heaven and earth. But obviously, the game's not letting them walk out that clean, because out of nowhere, the undead emperor's body jerks back up off the floor, roaring at Luo and the rest of humanity that he's dragging every last one of them down to hell with him. Yao instantly clamps onto Luo's leg like some terrified kid, freaking out because unlike their no-fear sniper king, he's got no extra lives here and actually stays dead if he falls. The entire arena starts breaking apart, chunks of ground dropping as lava explodes up and rushes out toward the edges like the whole place is rage quitting. As if that wasn't enough, the portal to the next stage is all the way on the far side with nothing between them and it except a full-on lava river that needs to be jumped. Lua pauses for just a heartbeat, brain going full speed as he tries to figure out how they're all getting out alive. Then, out of nowhere, he snags Yao by the collar, yanking him up before Yao even knows what's happening. He wraps an arm around Jinyum's waist and lifts her too, and she has zero time to prepare for it, which turns the whole moment super tense and weird. They don't even get half a second to react or understand any of it before he's already moving to the next step. Lua hurls both of them straight toward his armored scorpion like he's tossing items into a launcher. The moment they're in range, he commands the scorpion to blast them out, aiming their launch right at the portal. Yao and Jin are mid-flight absolutely spiraling, brains lagging while their bodies fly over the lava, yelling the whole way and trying to process how Lua just turned them into straight-up cannonballs. Somehow, it actually plays out exactly how he pictured it. The scorpion yeets them cleanly through the glowing doorway, and they slam into the ground in a messy heap on the far side. Meanwhile, Sujin's spiraling because Lua is still stuck inside, and the portal's shrinking fast. Back inside the dungeon with our boy, he and his scorpion get set for their own last-second launch. The scorpion fires him off straight at the exit, and while he's flying, he cancels the summon. But by then, the portal is down to its last flicker. Right when he's about to clear it, a huge lava wave blasts up right in his face. It completely kills his sprint. Like he hits an invisible wall mid-air, he slams his weapon down with everything he's got, trying to slow himself before he falls in. On the far side, Sujin and Liu Yao just stand there locked in, scared stiff, silently begging for him to somehow clutch this. The portal behind them is shrinking fast, down to this tiny crack of light, and in the instant it's about to slam shut on Lu Yao, he throws his whole body forward and launches himself for the final jump. He smashes through the fading portal and tumbles onto solid ground. Sujin and Lu Yao immediately dive on him, practically dogpiling as they check him over in a panic. He shrubs them off, insisting he's good, just tagged by a couple burns from that lava blast. The system interface flashes up, throwing out a huge W for user 0. The tags underneath list Sujin Yan and Supreme Starburst as the duo who just clutched the second world clear. Yao's riding the high so hard he literally vows to hand Lu Yao 1 million yuan for hard carrying him through that chaos. After all that, he finally starts heading back to crash and reset his brain. He's just about to dip when Sujin suddenly calls out from behind him. She lets him know Chen Jun has already ditched the Misty Pavilion, which pretty much confirms that dude's cooking up a fresh plan to get Lu Yao killed. While our protagonist keeps walking off, Lu Yao instantly tries his luck with Sujin Yan, asking if she wants to duo up and grind this world together. She gently passes on the offer, but Zhao just eats it gracefully, saying they can always squad up if fate throws them into the same run again. Sujin can't help laughing at herself, realizing that not long ago she wanted to knee this clown every time he showed up, and now she actually sees him as a real friend. The scene then cuts over to the third world in the DES universe, shifting the camera toward that region. There, Yao and his guild slowly crawl out of grimy grave pits that apparently are where players respawn inside the safe zone. Yao starts hyping everyone up, telling his squad they gotta keep grinding hard so their guild can be the first to reach Jining Province. But while he's talking, this random bastard suddenly stomps his boot right down on Lu Yao's hand. Yao yells out from the pain, glaring up and demanding to know if this moron's actually blind. The guy still doesn't care, just stares down at him, asks if Yao is the leader of the Supreme Guild, and orders him to hand over our main guy. Yao scrambles to his feet, shoves a finger into the dude's chest, and basically lets him know he's not important enough to boss him around. Right then, a nervous guildmate quietly suggests they should call in our hero, since these dudes give off that high-level old-class user vibe. But staying loyal, Yao shuts that down and refuses to drag Lu into this mess. That's when the guy whips out his weapon and straight up points it at Yao, ready to end him on the spot, unless Yao does what they say and hands over Lua. The guy jams the blade right into Yao's chest, but Yao's totally fine, and everyone's just staring, stunned, like what glitch did they just witness? Now the whole squad of goons is honestly baffled, trying to figure out how Yao and his trash guild even cleared World 2 when none of them have hit level 20 yet. What actually saved Yao from that stab is the game's guardrails. If someone more than 10 levels above you attacks, their damage basically gets shut off. One of Yao's bros quietly suggests they should just dip and try to bolt out of there, but with all these high-level mercs posted around them, he already knows there's no realistic way they're breaking out. Since they can't one-shot anybody, the mercs switch tactics and start laying into them the old-school way, fists and boots flying. And because these punks are level 25 class changers, the protection rules don't kick in, so Yao and his team are getting completely folded. Once the stomping finally eases up, Yao is slumped on the floor looking like he got freight trained, while one of his members spills that these guys are an infamous merc crew that targets players just to jack their gear. The leader squats down in front of Yao, asking him one last time to call over our protagonist, saying he'll just delete him right here if he refuses. Scene jumps back to reality where Lu Yao is lying on his hospital bed, chatting with the nurse and doctor about how his little brother's treatment is going. They tell him the money already hit their account and say they'll look after his kid brother properly, so he thanks them, ends the call, and finally lets himself breathe a little. Right after that, he opens his phone and spots a message from Lu Yao, a huge transfer sitting in his notifications, and he feels like the bill stress and money drama can finally chill for a while. Before that relief can properly land, his phone suddenly starts buzzing again. This time, it's a Supreme Guild member on the other end, basically yelling into the receiver and begging our main guy to come save their president, Lu Yao. Cut back to the game world and Yao's squad is slumped on the dirt with their heads hanging, boxed in on all sides by Chen Jun's hired muscle, all of them just camping there waiting for Lu. One of the mercs leans toward their captain and says there's someone walking over. Sure enough, the figure heading their way is Lu Yao himself. He comes strolling up like he's got the whole map unlocked, telling them to let Lu Yao and his people go. The captain just stares him down with that cocky smirk, saying he already took a fat contract to delete Lu, so somebody's getting packed today, end of story. As soon as he hears that, Yao instantly starts pitching a counter deal, tossing out 100 million per head if they let his people walk. One of the hired guns actually hesitates, low-key tempted by the bag, but the captain shuts it down hard, barking at him to pick money or breathing. He breaks it down straight: if they don't finish the job, Mr. Gu will probably clean them up himself, so dying here or later doesn't really change the ending. Even after all that, these clowns still sleep on Lel, acting like he's just some RNG blessed beast tamer who fell upward once. To prove it to himself, one merc steps out from the group and sprints right at Liu without a second thought. Huge LE. Liu barely reacts, casually pops an ice spell, and the guy locks up into solid ice like this is still the noob zone tutorial. The rest of the crew jolts as they watch their guy literally turned into an ice statue in front of them. Another idiot panics and rushes Liu from the side, desperate to land a hit, but Liu Yao swaps tactics and blasts him straight in the face with a fire spell. The dude drops on the spot, deleted in one hit. Their leader just stands there, eyes wide, completely thrown off. He genuinely can't wrap his head around how some under-leveled newbie is dumping on level 25 elites like it's nothing. Realizing his crew's basically useless, he decides he's got to step in himself. He slips into stealth and comes sliding up behind Liu Yao with a surprise strike. This time he actually connects, slicing into Liu Yao and drawing real damage. The moment he sees blood spill, the boss gets fired up, completely locked in. He instantly lunges forward again, going all out, clearly trying to finish Liu Yao right there. At this point, Liu Yao clocks that the guy's a level 30 assassin, which lines up with how insanely quick he is compared to all the jobber mobs, so he instantly calls out his armored scorpion, not even hesitating. But this assassin dude's moving like he's got permanent sprint toggled on. The scorpions barely finish loading into the map, and this guy's already right up in Luo's grill, about to delete him straight to the Shadow Realm. Luo clocks that he's basically dead meat and just tenses up, accepting this might be his logout scream. That's when Sujin shoots in from the side with a clutch save. She lands her confining flaming light skill on the assassin, and locks this dude down like someone paused his game, giving Luo the perfect window to swing back and pay it all off. He's locked in now and uses that opening instantly, and blasts a fireball right into the guy's face, tacking him dead on. The assassin just stands there, straight stunned that a level 20 beast tamer actually tagged his HP bar, especially when he's out here as a level 30 assassin, rocking a full set of gold gear like a raid boss. Once the dust settles, Liu looks over and internally thanks Sujin for somehow always popping up the second he's about to get sent back to spawn. She plays it off super laid back, tossing out this flowery line about destiny tying them together, but Liu's not buying it. She's clearly been camping his online status non-stop, lurking like a gamer girlfriend who never logs off. Yao and his guild all start bowing their heads, tripping over themselves to apologize for dragging Luffy into drama that started with their own beef. But our protagonist stays calm, basically letting them know it's all fine since these killers were already hunting him down either way. Then Sujin jumps in, saying she's almost certain Chen Jun's behind it all because that clown's been moving real shady lately. With that in mind, they start piecing things together, and our boy shifts focus, asking who the real boss behind this whole setup actually is. Yao starts breaking it down, saying these guys are from some assassin for hire squad, a small crew that's been bullying and hunting players in this world for like 10 years straight. Sujin backs him up and says the group's got more than 50 assassins in it, but somehow not a single one has managed to push past level 30. That stat absolutely throws Yao off, and he's sitting there wondering how you live in this game for an entire decade and still sit parked at level 30. In his head, he's just roasting them, thinking what have they been on this whole time, loading into life on hard mode just because they're bored. Lulu calmly breaks it down, saying you need a second-class advancement to push beyond level 30, and if you don't unlock that, 30 is a hard wall and you're stuck there till logout. One of the Supreme Guild boys suddenly connects the dots, freaks out a bit, and shouts that these assassins have probably been trapped inside the game for the full 10 years, living off jacking gear from other players every day, which actually tracks with all the crazy high-tier stuff they're flaunting on their armor. Yao's still not convinced though, since he literally threw a massive cash offer at them earlier, and if loot was all they cared about, they would have grabbed it and dipped instantly. So our main guy points out that there's probably someone behind the scenes forcing this assassin squad to keep running these hit jobs, and if that's true, then there's zero chance this is over. They're almost guaranteed to spin the block and come back, probably extra heated next time. Yale tells them they've got to level up their gear fast because if they run into another full squad of level 30s, there's no guarantee they walk away again. Right then, Luo wonders if Yao can hit up the Shao family and ask them to forge some equipment, since he clearly has a good relationship with them. Yao wonders what exactly he's aiming for, and our main guy explains that anything below level 20 is fine as long as it comes with the Heart of Demon attribute, saying that part is absolutely non-negotiable. As Luo heads off, Yao just stands there rubbing his scalp and trying to figure out what's so insane about this exact piece of gear. Luo only drops one line about how their future in this world literally rides on that effect, walking off like some mysterious main character. Cut back to reality for a second, where Chen Jun is losing it in his chair, roaring at the assassin for getting folded by a beast tamer of all things. The assassin eating that rant is Pei Chi, the merc captain, and he swears he'll go in person next time and erase this guy properly. Chen Jun leans in and tells him he better not choke this job the way his trash teammates did, probably dangling his paycheck or cutting his reward if he slips up. While that's going down, our main guy is grinding like usual. He just keeps training, replaying that mer squad in his head, fully aware he's not on their level yet if it came down to a straight up brawl. For the third world's clear conditions, he's got to boost his tomb's defense from 300 all the way up to 2000, which is a stupid huge leap. On top of that, he has to knock out at least one mission with a difficulty score higher than 300. Once those requirements are sorted, they finally unlock a shot at the boss fight and maybe, hopefully, punch their ticket out of this death game. As if that wasn't enough, the game has this lovely feature where the god of death drops in every night at exactly midnight and goes wild for a full 10 minutes. And here's the part that's just wrong. If a player isn't back in their tomb during that timer, or their tomb's defense hits 0 while the raid is happening, they're wiped instantly. So even those assassin punks are forced to bail and sprint back to their own tombs every single night just to stay alive. And that short window is literally Luo's one real chance to catch them without a gang behind them, since they can't camp his spot around the clock. For now, he's just chilling and watching the timer, waiting on Luo to ping him that the special gear has finally been forged. Before long, Yao actually DMs him first, saying Luo's finished the job. A little while later, Yao sprints over through the graveyard fog, gripping this dark, nasty-looking staff like it's some legendary drop. He hands it off, and our protagonist wraps his fingers around the staff, feeling the weight and weird energy coming off it. He looks it over from top to bottom and low-key gets stunned. Every stat and special effect is dead on, lining up perfectly with the setup he's been cooking in his head. With the delivery done, Yao's curiosity kicks in hard, and he's already hyped up picturing a straight-up rush where they gun straight for those assassin freaks and wipe them out. To set the stage, Yao shares what he's heard. The assassin squad's been posted near the safe zone gate all day, just waiting to insta-delete any Supreme Guild member who dares step 1 foot outside, but he watches our boy quietly shake his head, clearly locked in on a plan that doesn't involve running straight at their camp like idiots. Right then, a heavy system alert flashes across the whole interface, telling all players to get back inside their own tombs ASAP, because the god of death is about to roll through on his deadly nightly route. Seeing that, Yao doesn't waste a second. He shouts for his squad to fall back and dive into their graves fast, before that death countdown even starts ticking. But right as everyone's getting ready to log off and move out, those assassin clowns slide up and line the edge of the safe zone. Yao instantly loses it when he spots them, while our boy stays steady, reminding him that inside this boundary they're untouchable, since the game straight up locks combat in safe zones. Out on the other side, the assassins just post up, trash-talking the Supreme Guild non-stop and laughing about how they're all basically already marked for death. But the second they even think about stepping past that safety line, our boy has already quietly set his whole play in motion behind the scenes. He quickly tells Yao and the whole squad to fall back to their graves and sit tight, dropping one key rule: stay synced to the safe zone and don't move out until he's back. When they watch him gearing up to dip out on his own, everyone starts getting real anxious. Yao's fully stressed and lost, wondering what he's even trying to pull when the death raid countdown's already flashing in red, but Luo just snaps open a teleport gate in front of them and doesn't bother giving any kind of breakdown. One blink later, he's gone from the spot, leaving the whole group frozen in place, completely stunned about whatever stunt he's trying to pull. Then the view cuts over to Luo casually roaming through the map on his own, like he's just out on a late-night patrol, until he finally catches sight of exactly what he's been hunting for on the minimap. It's the gravekeeper Li Hua, standing by the tomb gate, clearly rattled and low-key terrified about this whole god of death raid. Luo strolls over and offers a hand, and Li Hua's kinda stunned that a real player actually steps up to help instead of dipping like the rest. Li Hua doesn't waste time and hands him a chunky mission: travel east to the City of Death in the Holy Light Cemetery and wipe out the skeleton army guarding the place. Those walking piles of bones are basically the god of death's main squad, and clearing them out is guaranteed to tick off their boss. That's been Luo's main objective from the jump, so he locks it in right away, barely even pausing to think it over. The gravekeeper quietly sends him off with a small goodbye as Luo heads out toward the cemetery. Right after he leaves, a glowing system window slides into view with the quest info and the requirements look completely busted. He's tasked with taking down 300 skeleton warriors, 300 skeleton archers, 300 skeleton mages, and 300 plain skeletons on top of that. And the timer's brutal too, since he only has 3 in-game days to clear all of them. On paper, the game flags this as a standard third world quest, but compared to that undead disaster back in the second world, running this thing solo is actually insanely hard. On top of that, there's a hidden rule that if you bail out of Holy Light Cemetery mid-hiss, you've basically signed your own death screen. Time skips ahead, and now he's literally standing in front of the god of death itself, trading blows like it's a raid boss showdown. Luil eats a direct hit to the face, no dodge, no block, just takes it head on. The system window instantly snaps up in front of him, showing his defense stat nuked down to nothing and his grave hanging on with only 121 durability left. The only reason he's still upright is because he's geared up in equipment forged from darkness ore, devil eyes, and a demon heart, stuff way beyond any normal loadout, and that kit is the only thing letting him survive hits from the ruler of death. In his head, he's low-key proud of himself, thinking that grabbing this staff reinforced with the evil heart wasn't just a flex. It was actually the perfect tech pick specifically for tanking the god of death, because without that gear, your HP bar, your stats, all of it means nothing. If you stand inside this boss's attack zone, your life just drains away whether you move or not. But with the evil heart effect active, he straight up shrugs off demon type damage like it's turned off in the settings. In his last life, he only figured this out by complete accident while he was grinding in the fourth world. Back then, he also learned that gear on this level can only be put together by a top-tier craftsman who actually knows what they're doing, and there's zero chance of snagging gear like this in the third world unless you're tight with some crafter who can cook it up for you. Even though he had a similar setup in his past life, that old version stayed scuffed compared to this one and never felt fully trustworthy. Meanwhile, over in the safety zone, Yao is straight up rattled, haunted by the thought of the god of death showing up any second. One of his teammates is panicking about grinding levels fast, convinced that if they fall behind, their tomb's defense bar will just snap to 0 and they'll get insta-deleted. Right then, Chen Jun rolls in, laughing at Yao and clowning on him for hiding in the safe zone instead of stepping out like a man. Another guy from Jun's squad quietly mentions they should probably buckle down and farm levels too, but Chen Jun completely snaps on him, raging that the only objective that matters is tracking down the main character and every brain cell needs to be on that. The teammate fires back, saying he is already on task, then gives Chen Jun a warning not to lay a finger on Chi-Chi or he'll seriously regret it. Chen Jun answers with this icy vibe, saying it all comes down to how obedient he is. Finish the mission and he'll see his daughter again, making it clear this dirtbag is holding a kid hostage to keep his own people under his thumb. As he turns his back on Liu Yao and walks off, Chen Jun warns that if he doesn't spill where Lu Di is hiding, he's basically dead anyway, either gutted by their squad or smashed by the god of death. Liu Yao's face is completely twisted up, straight heated, staring at Chen Jun like he's trash, knowing this guy treats low-level players as if they're bottom-tier NPCs. Right then, Sujin Yen rushes into view, frantic and searching for Lu Di, and one of the guys says he disappeared right after grabbing that new gear from Yao. In that instant, the same thought loads in all their heads. To them, it looks like Lu Di only stuck around to snag the gear, then dipped to go solo the demon, leaving them locked in here to get farmed by the assassin squad and rot in this cursed Holy Light Cemetery. Everyone else starts doubting hard, but Liu Yao is still calm about our boy, because deep down he actually trusts him to pull through. Right then, Liu Yao's interface pops, and he sees a private message from Lu Di straight up asking for support. Yao instantly starts flexing that he got the DM first, while Sujin Yan sits there burning inside, salty that Lu Di reached out to Yao instead of her. Now she's quietly plotting, thinking she has to make a move and prove to him she absolutely clears Yao. After that, Liu Yao fills our protagonist in, telling him Chen Jun rolled into the third world backed by 10 high-level assassins and is holding the top player's daughter hostage to squeeze everyone, then asks him where he is. Our boy doesn't pause for even a second and answers that he's already in the city of death. After a bit of wandering, Sujin ends up making her way through this creepy-looking city of death. She's already telling herself this run is going to be rough, since most of the mobs around here sit at levels 25 to 28. Just then, a rotten hand claws straight up from the ground and Sujin lets out a full-on scream like she's stuck in a horror live stream. The undead thing lunges in, about to swing on her and finish the job, but before it can land a hit, an icy spell slams into it from off screen and locks it in place like a statue. Right after that, a steady hand grabs onto her, keeping her from stumbling. Standing there is Liu Yao, finally showing up on the scene. He's got one arm wrapped securely around Sujin's waist, holding her close so she doesn't fall. With his other hand, our guy clears the threat in one clean move and drops the monster like it's nothing. Sujin Sujin's cheeks go hot and she's staring down, low-key embarrassed from how close he's holding her. Luo ends up bailing her out again, same as back in the first world, and at this point she's clearly starting to fall for him. Over in the safe zone, a bunch of players are just standing around talking trash about Chen Jun and their own guild leader, the same guy who carried Jun through the second world run. One member really can't figure out why their leader would help that guy at all, but another just waves it off, saying their boss will do whatever as long as the money's good. Off to the side, the assassin whose kid is being controlled by Chen Jun is just sitting there, staring coldly and imagining putting our boy in the grave. Right then he notices someone in a hooded cloak slipping away in a hurry. He bolts after the cloaked figure, trying to run them down, but swift strike. The second command loses him in the crowd and completely blows the chase. He gives up and heads back, thinking it doesn't even matter. Everyone trapped here is screwed sooner or later. After some time passes, that same hooded player shows up quietly in front of Lu Yao. The stranger stays covered up, but lays everything out, exposing what the assassins have really been up to. How they're tracking a guy called Zhang Yu and plan to straight up delete him the moment he steps into the graveyard. Lu Yao grips the player's hand, tells him the reward's on its way, then warns him to keep this whole thing under wraps or else. The dude nods fast and dips out of there. Meanwhile, one of the Supreme Guild guys is grumbling that Lua Boss is just grinding them for his own gain and says they should leak everything to the mercs and let them deal with him. But Yao shuts that down, saying Lua Boss isn't leeching off anyone and honestly just wants them to bounce back to the safe zone. The member argues there's zero chance Lua Boss solos those high-tier mercs, but Yao tells him to trust the man when nobody else does. This guy's completely locked in on believing our main character. The camera cuts back to the City of Death, with Sujin standing in front of our boy, quietly grateful for what he's done. She checks how his grind's going, and he says he's only pushed his level up by 1, which he feels is kinda slow. Sujin is stunned, thinking that if that's slow, then pulling off a whole level boost in just a couple of days is basically insane. At the same time, our hero's mind is racing, trying to cook up any way to survive the Ruler of Death, knowing the graveyard wards can only eat 3 hits before they're gone. Right now, everyone in that city basically has a timer on their head. If the assassin squad doesn't finish them off, the God of Death is going to wipe them out in under 48 hours. After thinking it through for a second, he turns to Sujin and says he needs potions fast, promising he'll drop 120% of the going price to lock them in. Sujin opens up her item window and starts scrolling through her bag. She ends up pulling out 6 different bottles, all of them custom made by her older sister. As she piles the potions into his hands, it finally clicks for her that he's getting preps to throw himself at those assassins. He shuts that idea down and says the real plan is to juice himself past the mercenary's stats and stay stacked for a full 3 days straight. Because unlike those overpowered isekai MCs, people here actually hit their limits, so Sujin Loki starts stressing about how hard he's about to push himself. Luo doesn't back off at all and makes it clear this is something he's decided he has to handle. Watching how stubborn he is, she still offers to jump in, but he turns her down, thinking he can't drag her into it when these things can legit tap her and leave him carrying the blame. She pops open her inventory and shows off her upgraded gear, saying that with this setup she's not about to fall behind. He lets out this awkward laugh and finally gives in, agreeing to bring her along for real. Now he's stressing, rebuilding his whole game plan because he actually wants her to stay alive, while Sujin's amped, hyped that she finally gets to jump into Babel next to her crush. The quest is locked at 3 full in-game days, and with how weak they still are, they're gonna have to know Daba's H-word the grubbly non-stop and juicing up that hand-me-down gear from his past run. Lua also remembers a level 25 hidden dungeon called Skeleton Island, a spot everyone says is busted for fast leveling. It's basically that classic XP farm where you camp the same mobs on repeat until your stats stop looking sad. Snagging the secret, Roan scroll as loot and clearing the objective should push their levels where they need them. Sujin's totally locked in too, ready to help him speedrun the whole dungeon. The second they hit accept on the mission, a glowing portal spawns in front of them like usual. They walk straight through it together, and just like that, they spawn straight onto Skeleton Island. On the shore, this mage NPC called Lao Rui is parked on a rock, looking way too relaxed, like he's on a break. Staying on his script, the old mage checks if Luo's here to run monster hunts, and once Luo confirms, the quest chain locks in. Lao Rui passes him a weird-looking token, tossing in a half-hearted blessing so he doesn't get folded by the undead running around. The second Luo takes the token, his system screen flashes with a new prompt. It spells out that wiping every skeleton on the island nets him 10 shots at refining. Each attempt chews through at least 20 alternate energy, and if RNG goes crazy, he can even pull a gold mission from it. Sujin clocks how tense his face looks and low-key asks what's going on with him. He tells her this secret realm technically lets you refine up to gold order, but the grind is brutal and drains resources non-stop. Once she hears that, Sujin starts stressing too, knowing refining guzzles alternate energy, and most average players are straight up broke on that stuff. He shoots her this smug little grin, totally confident, like in his head there's no universe where he ever runs out of alternate energy. With that in mind, the two of them dive deeper into the quest zone, grinding forward to actually clear this mission. He's carving into the undead creeping toward them, dropping bones and bodies on both sides as they move. By the time it feels like they've deleted an endless swarm of demons, the order still refuses to bump up to gold. Sujin looks completely worn down now, shoulders heavy and eyes tired. Honestly, it makes sense with how long they've been hard grinding. Then, after even more non-stop monster wipeouts, the refining finally pops and the order climbs all the way up to gold. The timer kicks in right away, leaving him with just 2 hours on the clock to stack levels before that gold order expires. Staring at the glowing order in his hand, he's hyped, fully ready to jump into another brawl and squeeze every bit of EXP out of this. Luo believes they're chilling, convinced that, compared to everybody else, their luck is just built different. Meanwhile, Sujin is quietly realizing the only reason their runs haven't collapsed is because he's sitting on what feels like endless alternate energy. Now they're gearing up for a showdown with the Death God who could literally pull up any moment. But since his golden order buff only lasts 2 hours, they need to dive back into the secret realm before it wears off. Over there, a bunch of high-level dungeons are waiting that'll let them blast through enemies, starting with whatever they can clear while that golden order's still active. Lulu taps into his token and straight up evolves Skull Island into a hidden secret realm version of itself. The quest locked in is simple but brutal. Wipe out 40 skeleton warriors and then take down their guardian, the skeleton general known as Hera. A glowing portal tears open right in front of them, lighting up the shoreline. Out of that gateway, a level 26 physical type boss rides forth on a war horse like he owns the place. Packed in behind him is a full skeleton squad marching in formation, weapons ready. The boss doesn't waste a second and has his undead troops lock on to anyone daring to step into their zone. Watching this absolute unit roll up with an army at his back, Luo feels the pressure spike but locks in hard. Our hero tells Sujin they should drag the skeleton squad away from the others, since running straight at these overleveled mobs is just asking to get deleted. Actual big brain moment. With the plan set, Luo and Sujin turn and sprint, cutting across the beach as fast as they can. Behind them, the whole skeleton horde comes storming after, bones rattling as they flood across the sand. While they're running, he asks how many skeletons she can control in one go, but Sujin honestly has no idea since she's never pushed her limit like that, so he tells her to dip out of sight and start taking over as many skeletons as possible, knowing it'll turn the fights into easy cleanup. After they pull enough distance and lock in the setup, he stops and plants himself right in the middle of the ruined stone wall, facing the huge skeleton wave alone, like he's about to queue up a 1v100 highlight reel. The instant the undead swarm surges forward at him, claws and rusted weapons swinging, he shouts for Sujin to kick off her move and start controlling them now. She starts steering all those skeletons around like they're her own squad, while our protagonist hangs back in the safe zone, eyes glued to every move. He has them line up their spells and literally burn the enemy mob to a crisp. It's like you're watching a live tower defense run, except he's the one acting as the murder tower. The boss monster watches his whole undead horde get farmed by one human, and you can tell he is heated. He finally snaps, picks up his weapon, and charges straight at Lua and Sujin himself. Our boy quickly opens the stat window on this thing and instantly panics, realizing his own numbers are straight garbage next to it. Full David versus Goliath type gap. At the same time, Sujin's stamina bar is crashing hard from puppeteering that many mobs. She's basically running on fumes now. With one brutal lunge, the boss monster pulls back his spear, about to run it straight through our hero's body like he's nothing. When Sujin finally drops her control skill on that thing and its movements go all stiff, the timing hits perfect, like last second. Save the run type clutch. Spotting the tiny window he's been waiting for, Luo dumps all his power at once, not holding back anything, and completely wipes the demon off the map with one giant slam of damage. Sujin ends up hyping him up, clearly impressed with what he just pulled, as he calls out that he needs her to back him up with another tower. task. Meanwhile, on the other side of the fight, the boss monster is already scrambling to its feet again because of course it still isn't finished. The view cuts over to Chen Jun standing right at the gateway to the secret realm, looking straight up threatening while his guild guys stand behind him, confused why he's just posted up there like some weirdo. And he lays it out that ever since the realm went live, the rules flipped, so he's locking the place down, blocking anyone from going in until he figures out who turned this thing on. Chen Jun instantly commands his squad to straight up delete anyone who dares step out of that glowing gate. Real top tier hospitality right there. Right on cue, a system ping hits saying the first clear just went down in the secret realm, and the name flashing on the notice is Sujin Yan, and everyone turns to spot her casually strolling out of the portal's exit. Chen Jing suddenly lights up, pressing her, wanting to know if she's the one who triggered the realm, and when she gives a simple yes, Chen Jun goes off loud, claiming he totally would have shut the entrance and backed her up if he'd known what she was doing. Nobody's buying it. Like, sure dude, you were definitely planning to help out of pure kindness. She shuts that down fast, saying she doesn't need anybody's backup and fully plans on keeping every reward to herself since she fought for it and earned it. And right as she turns her back and gets ready to bounce, one of the hired killers throws an arm out to block her path, dropping some so-held insider info on her. Turns out the one who triggers the hidden secret realm after it's cleared doesn't actually walk away with the bounty scroll, meaning she clearly wasn't solo in there. Somebody else is still inside that secret realm. As soon as she catches that they're starting to connect the dots, Sujin's anxiety spikes and she's low-key freaking out. She scrambles for an excuse on the spot, spinning a rushed story that it was really her bestie who opened the secret realm first and she only dashed in and finished it before her friend did. The assassin clearly isn't convinced and keeps pressing her, digging for details about this supposed friend. Sujin claims her friend already bounced, then flips the switch and jumps straight into attack mode toward Chen Jun. She starts chewing him out for standing there while his lackeys surround her and treat her like some suspect. And by now, everyone knows that whenever Sujin snaps like that, things always turn. This clown still thinks with his lower brain instead of the one in his skull, so he rushes to tell his boys to back off and let her walk. As she's heading off, Jun, being down bad as usual, tries to slide in and invite her out to eat, but Cedricin instantly shuts him down and tells him to quit tailing her. Once she's out of sight, Chen Jun turns to his guy and double checks if Ludus is really still stuck inside the safe zone and not sneaking around the secret realm somewhere. His guildmates report back that they did see our protagonist trying to bail earlier, but the guards at the gate blocked him and he couldn't step out. With this being the final night, Jun reminds them that under no circumstances can Ludus escape before midnight, because once the clock hits, the tomb's defenses drop to 0 and he's basically auto-dead. The camera then cuts over to Sajik, who's finally pushed through to the forest area and starts calling out looking for our guy. Right on time, our protagonist walks out from behind this giant boulder, and the moment she spots him, she starts spilling how scared she was that Chen Jun might have caught him coming out right after she exited the portal. She also wants to know if Lu guessed that Chen Jun and those hired killers would be lurking outside. Lulu breaks down that since Chen Jun paid top dollar for those assassins, of course he'd want to show up himself, see who scored the loot, and probably try to snatch everything for free. Sajik finally clocks why our hero asked that favor back in the secret realm to let her land the finishing hit so his name wouldn't show up in the system announcement and blow his identity. He tells her sorry for dragging her into his mess, saying he was just trying to dodge any chaos if people figured out who he really was, but she just listens and doesn't take it personal. She even lets him know she's actually kind of glad she could back him up. With all that clued up, the two finally chill for a second and start going through everything they scored inside. First item on the menu is this ridiculous magic shield, glowing and crisp, looking way too clean for their level. Only thing clouding their mood now is how to slip back into the holy cemetery without Chen Jun clocking them, because once they sneak inside and turn everything in, they're finally hitting level 25 and can start showing off for real. Sujin brings up using her sister's network to pull strings, since they're up against a level 30 threat, and, as they are now, they just get farmed. But our guy just reaches over and rests a hand on her head, patting her light like she's a nervous stray, telling her to chill and stop overthinking it. The second his hand touches her, her cheeks go bright red, and she's suddenly acting all stiff and embarrassed. Then, trying to change the energy, she suddenly pulls out a bounty scroll she tucked away earlier and waves it, asking if they should pop it right now, which is when the narration drops some quick background info on how this stuff works. Over there, missions are sorted into 3 kinds: normal jobs, secret ones, and bounty quests, with hidden quests being super rare pulls that hit like winning the lottery. Bounty missions are super RNG, but the payouts still don't hit as hard as those secret side quests. Plus, they've been guzzling potions non-stop these last few days, so their wallets are dying and they really need a quest that actually pays before they end up broke. Right as they pop open the bounty reward chest, a monster suddenly jumps out of it, and for a second they both just stand there trying to process what they're seeing. Then the system text pops up, praising them for pulling a level 28 gold Golden Shelton King and asking if they want to bump the finished mission to an upgraded version, and Sujin has zero idea what that even means. So our guy breaks it down. If they say yes, they ditch all the rewards they just earned, and if they fail the upgrade run, everything they did basically goes straight into the trash. Luo admits that if he was running solo, he probably would have hit upgrade, but with Chen Jun sniffing around after all the sneaky moves they just pulled, he doesn't want to take that risk. But Sujin, true to her wild playstyle, says they should lock in this crazy shot before Chen Jun catches wind and shuts the whole thing down. Our main guy pauses, runs through her point in his head, and decides she's actually making sense, so he confirms the prompt and takes the upgrade. A new system message pops up saying the hidden quest just leveled up into something way bigger. Now the mission is to take down the Shelton King, and they've only got 1 hour on the clock before the whole thing auto-fails. Sujin's eyes light up when she scrolls through the insane rewards, but our guy just tenses up, knowing it's going to be brutal with only 2 players running at a level 28 King boss. Out of nowhere, they catch other players talking under their breath nearby about a huge boss spawning in this exact zone. Without thinking, Lulu reaches over and clamps a hand over Sujin's mouth, then pulls them both down and tucks them in behind a huge boulder to stay completely off the radar. Not far away, Chen Jun is speed walking straight toward the spawn point, basically foaming at the mouth imagining the loot and glory. The second the giant health bar pops up and he clocks that it's a level 28 King Demon, his face drains, and he looks like he low-key wants to log out on the spot. Even so, he barks at the hired killers to charge in first and chip it down, clearly planning to swoop in for the last hit and steal the full clear for himself without risking his own neck. The merge squad boss breaks it all down for his crew, pointing out targets and timing like they're lining up a robbery job. Then he explodes forward, rushing the demon head on, sticking to everything they planned. His guys start diving in one after another. Their hits come in tight coordinated swings, and low-key the whole combo looks pretty sick. While all that chaos is happening, Sujin and our main guy stay tucked behind the boulder, just watching in dead silence as the fight plays out. Sujin quietly wonders if he's just camping it out, letting the others drain the demon's stamina before he hops in to clean up. Our guy just tosses out a Chinese saying about fools stepping straight into a death trap without even clocking it, which perfectly nails exactly what Chen Jun and his squad are doing right now. None of them realize our main guy is literally hiding on the side, locked in, and just waiting to snipe their boss like a straight-up kill thief. While they're going crazy on the Shelton King, Sujin's posted a little ways off, quietly eyeing the merc squad as they fight. She's actually stunned for a second, noticing how hard they're hitting and thinking these dudes are seriously no joke. Luo, on the other hand, is cold reading the battlefield, breaking down formations and noticing how clean their rotations and timing are, like a super polished grind squad that's been doing this forever. But out of nowhere, the merc captain glances around with this bad hunch creeping up his spine, leaning toward a teammate to quietly mention that something here doesn't fully check out. Behind all that tension, Chen Jun's posted further back, just raging at his own killers. He's yelling for them to stop dragging it out and finish the boss already so he can cash in. One of the assassins clocks that attitude and decides to stir the pot, casually hinting to the captain that Chen Jun's been using them like disposable tools the whole time. The captain eats that up right away, and his mood flips almost instantly. Seething, he turns around and unleashes a full-strength swing at a nearby boulder, chunks of rock exploding just from how mad he is. Except that chunk of stone is literally the same boulder Luo and Sujin are crouched behind. The whole thing blows apart in a thunderclap, chunks of rock flying everywhere. When the dust settles, the two of them are just out in the open like, well, this is scuffed. Our boy steps out first, trying to act unbothered, even though getting revealed like this was nowhere in his plans. The assassin captain instantly locks in, reel blazing, taking it as Luo disrespecting them and throwing down a challenge. Then Chen Jun clocks Luluan and completely loses it, staring like, what is this guy doing here when he's supposed to be locked in the safe zone? And the whole raid part gets messier when he realizes Sujin's chilling right there beside him. A call bite ared credamak hall da call baba bak hall pot. I call baba bida baba valcot. Scobred above cock. Watching her brush him off like that makes Chen Zhen's temper instantly spike even higher. He's so pissed his whole face goes dark, like he's about to blow a fuse on the spot. He signals the merch squad, basically telling them it's go time for their ambush plan. Their captain starts barking orders, sending his guys to drag every player out of the nearby safe zone. The assassin boss explodes forward toward our protagonist, moving so fast he's just a blur on screen. And Luluo, still acting like the most respectful dude alive, shoves Sujin out of the danger line, then lets the blade crash into him instead. He slams into the dirt, health bar chunking down as he skids across the ground. The mercenary steps over him, talking heavy, flexing that he's gonna finish Lulo with his own 2 hands. But Sujin refuses to just sit there and watch him get folded. She jumps between them, throwing herself in front of our boy, and while the merc focused on flaming her, Lulo casually locks back in and pulls off a move straight out of a main character highlight reel, and blasts this dude with 3 different spells at once, leaving the squad leader bleeding out and barely standing. Meanwhile, the boss goes full rage mode and starts wilding, and the other assassins are getting shredded, yelling out for someone to bail them. The leader shoots a quick look at Luo and Sujin, then suddenly sprints at the monster while our boy's brain is spinning, wondering how he can steal this and secure the last hit, so he plays it off and says they should burn down the boss first. Scene switches over to the safe zone, where Lulo and his squad are deep in a panic meeting trying to figure out how they're not going to die out here. One of them pipes up that they should have just tossed Lulo to the assassins and been done with it, and the whole squad just freezes up. Even Lu goes dead silent. A moment later, they spot the merge team filing out of the safe zone gates. As soon as they're gone, everybody lets out this huge breath like they've been holding it forever. Lulo, though, is still on edge, low-key convinced the assassins might have already clocked that our guy isn't actually hiding in the safe zone anymore. One of his teammates basically tells him to drop the stress over Lulo and lock in on farming mobs or they're all going to get wiped here. But Yao straight up refuses to ditch our protagonist if those mercs are really hunting him down. His whole crew just stares, stunned that he's actually serious about this. After running it through his head, Lu orders every guild member to push toward the City of Death, even tossing out an offer to double their pay if they stick with him. Then this madman just strides out of the safe zone by himself, ready to back our boy up. The rest mutter and complain behind him at first, but once they remember that boosted payout, they trail after him anyway because nobody's skipping that kind of cash. Back in the boss room, the captain rushes straight at the monster, still shouting over his shoulder that everyone else is just there to soften it up because the final hit is his. His squad fires off together, a streak of glowing magic tearing into the boss. Then out of nowhere, the monster just backhands him with a massive claw like he's nothing, smashing him into the ground so hard the whole floor almost shakes. After that, all 3 sides just freeze up, staring each other down, caught in this intense 3-way standoff where no one knows who's swinging next. Chen Jun's face goes pale, looking like he might actually pee himself. And right then the boss twitches and suddenly lunges back into action, jumping them before they can react. Lu Hua and Sujin sync up and move in side by side, locking onto the monster like they're about to finish it off together. And just when it looks like they've got this in the bag, the assassin captain suddenly bulls straight at our dude from behind. No way he's letting his hard-earned boss kill get stolen that easy. He's literally a split second away from sneaking a cheap shot into our guy's back. Then, out of absolutely nowhere, someone else drops into the fight, blasting off fireballs across the field, cutting in between them, throwing off his aim so hard that his attack completely whiffs. It's a squad from the Supreme Guild that Yao sent as Lulu's bodyguards, and now our main guy's low-key stacked with his own support crew. The assassin leader clocks Luo right away and feels his blood pressure spike. He instantly orders his squad to turn on Chen Jun's team and swing back hard. Out of nowhere, it turns into a straight guild-on-guild throwdown, and through all that chaos, our boy's still dialed in on the boss's HP bar like nothing else matters. The mer captain keeps side-eyeing Luo, wondering how this kid is outputting numbers like a top-tier veteran, but he refuses to let a bunch of newbies yoink his hard-earned kill, so he roars forward and rushes our MC again, except Sujin slides in behind him and repeats that same slick setup from earlier, locking his body down with her crowd control skills. At this point, the captain's done with her jumping into his plays, and even if he knows Chen Jun won't ever greenlight killing her, he's over it. He burns a trunk card spell and rips himself out of her hold, and he rams his blade straight through Sujin's chest like he's deleting her on the spot. Our boy watches her drop, and the first thing that pops into his head is one brutal thought. There goes the whole payout he was grinding for by helping her clear this alternate world. Sujin's laid out on the ground, calmly throwing him a final "you got this" in her own way. Then her body glitches out and vanishes, kicked back to reality by the game's death reset. That's when Lulo's temper snaps and he decides the fight ends here on his terms. He locks in, goes basically anime protagonist mode, and pops 3 different spells at the same time. Then unloads non-stop, stacking hit after hit to squeeze out every bit of damage. By the time he's done, the monster barely looks like it ever stood a chance, and with one last strike, he takes the boss down for good. And right then a system notice flashes up, patting him on the back for clearing the mission. Yao and his squad are still posted up far away when they spot smoke blowing up where our guy went, and they just know that has to be Luo finishing the job. After that, he's holding a new defensive skill he pulled from the secret realm bomb that basically carried that boss fight, and he's already thinking about pumping points into it. That's when the system suddenly pops another prompt, asking if he wants to turn the Golden Skeleton King into his own pet. He gets instantly locked in on that idea, and hits confirm without even hesitating, because a Skeleton King pet is just way too busted to pass up. Meanwhile, back with Chen Jun still on his trash behavior, he keeps squeezing the assassin captain, using his daughter as leverage and ordering him to hand over all the boss drops or else. Pissed off and desperate, the captain lunges trying to seize our protagonist, but he doesn't even get close, so Chen Jun doubles down and warns him again, and this time the Merca captain finally loses it, changing targets and ignoring Luo completely. He rockets straight at Chen Jun and slams a brutal kick into his chest, smashing him down into the dirt. With his blade hovering at Chen Jun's throat, he lets him know he'll end him instantly if he ever dares to get near his daughter again. Lying there, Chen tries to act unbothered and steers the talk back, saying if they don't finish Luo right now, his level and power are just going to keep snowballing. The captain turns his back on Chen Jun, acting crazy confident, saying he's strong enough to delete our hero anytime he feels like it. Over in the other zone, Yao and his squad are low-key spiraling because Luo dipped out and left them stranded deep in enemy land. The assassin leader clocks their group and gets ready to call the order to wipe them all out on the spot, but Chen Jun steps in and shuts it down, laying out his big brain move that Luo will 100% come sprinting back for Yao, so they might as well keep them as bait. Back with our main guy, he's already hit level 25 and is all set on trying to collar that boss as his own summon. Right then, a private message pops up from the general running the Misty Pavilion Guild, grizzling in on thick, trying to drop the mother of all guild trips on him, blaming him straight up, saying Sujin lost her life because of his choices, piling on that the Supreme Guild homies are stuck in there only because they tried to save him, while he dipped out and left them, looking soft as hell. At the same time, our boy gets a message from Sujin telling him to wait so they can squad up and wipe the assassins together. But Luo doesn't even think twice and shoots that plan down on the spot, because in his head, he's already locked in on taking the leader down 1v1 to personally pay him back for killing her. The story switches over to Yao and he's wrecked, face messed up bad, like he just went through 10 rounds with a boss and lost everyone. His cheeks are ballooned, skin bruised all over, and he just lowers his head, silently begging for Luo to pull up and bail them out. Then, almost like the game heard him, our boy finally steps into frame, walking and calm like he's the one this whole raid was built around. Chen Jun spots him and just cracks this nasty villain laugh, hyped that this idiot really showed his face. Yao instantly calls out to Luo for backup, voice shaking, sounding more desperate than he's ever been. Luo moves in on Chen Jun, closing the gap step by step. He keeps walking right at the assassin boss too, eye steady, zero hesitation. His whole vibe is throwing down a silent challenge, practically daring them to make their move. The captain quietly hints they should bait Luo in a bit more first, but Chen Jun just blows it off, acting like some low-level beast tamer isn't even worth planning around. Instead, he snaps his fingers and signals one of his underlings to haul something over. That something is Yao getting forcefully tossed out of the group. The guy gets yanked across the ground and dumped in a heap right at Luo's feet. Luo takes one look at how mangled he is and tells Yao to fall back, convinced he can clean this up himself. Yao, face swollen and busted, still tries to spit out a warning that these mercs are insane and Luo needs to bail, but Luo plants his feet and stays put, completely refusing to retreat. So Yao swears up and down that if Luo dips now, he'll 100% bring a rescue squad back for them. Right then, Luo walks up and stops in front of everyone, not backing up a single step, facing the assassin leader and his whole squad head on. He just smirks, body loose and chilled out, basically throwing himself out there as their opponent. The assassins don't hesitate at all and sprint in on him, moving like they're about to delete his character for good. But before any hit can land, Luo flips the whole script with one seriously cracked move. With a flex of his hand, he drops his summon and that dark skeleton king crashes onto the field. It's the boss monster he just turned into his own pet. The moment it appears, both Chen Jun and the assassin leader instantly go ghost white, completely stunned by what's standing in front of them. The scene rolls back a bit to right after the dungeon clear, when Luo first locked in this new pet. This clown instantly clocked that his tiny pet scorpion was useless now, so he pulled the coldest move and tossed the bones straight into his new pet's mouth. The new summon chomped the scorpion down and straight up morphed into a dark skeleton king level monster. As it changed, the system dumped a whole bunch of fresh skills onto his screen. On top of that, Luo picked up a full necromancer gear set to match the new summon. After he took some time to tweak everything, he walked away packing several Demon Slayer pieces in his inventory. He then slid on a pair of tanky defensive boots, and with his warrior stats stacking, both his defense and damage started spiking. Once he finished setting all this up and powering himself properly, our hero finally squared up, mentally all in for whatever was coming. Time snaps back to the current standoff the again. The Dark Skeleton King suddenly barrels toward the mercenaries, launching a huge swing. That one strike erases a whole chunk of their squad in an instant. Everybody just freezes, brains lagging, not even processing what they just watched. Chen Jun clocks what's happening and starts yelling at the captain to fix it himself if he still cares about his daughter breathing. The captain tightens his grip on his weapon, gearing up to throw down with our protagonist. But in his head, he's already decided Chen Jun's dying after this mission too, so he made his move and rushed in on our boy, banking on the idea that if he took out the summoner, every pet would drop with him. He sprinted straight at Luo at max speed, but Luo catches the strike on his staff, barely even budging. He just grins at this clown, vibe saying he never once thought Luo was helpless, while the Skeleton King suddenly goes for the captain's blindside, full-on ambush. The monster smashes into his back out of nowhere, armor cracking under the hit. Luo doesn't chill on the sidelines either and dives straight into the chaos. He raises his staff and fires off a spell, light flaring around his hands. The blast smacks the captain and sends him skidding over the ground like tossed trash. He's laid out, staring into space, completely lost on how he just got folded this hard. Around them, the rest of the squad keeps scrapping with the Dark Skeleton King and getting shredded. That's when the assassin leader finally clocks the situation and knows they're in deep trouble, and tells his squad to hard focus Lua first, since taking out the summoner is the only shot they've got at dropping this boss. He quickly lays out how their two fastest mercs have to dart around the Skeleton King and pull its aggro, so the rest of them can rush in and dogpile our protagonist. They explode forward together, swarming toward our boy. One of the assassins closes in fast, blade swinging in, about to clip him for real. Right then, everything suddenly flips. The Supreme Guild squad that Yao called in finally shows up at the battlefield. Their frontman steps out from the group, tossing out his name as Li Xiaoyao, the vice president of the Supreme Guild, basically making it clear that backup's here and this fight just flips sides. He nods, appreciating it, but makes it clear they can bounce whenever it gets too wild, because he's not about to let anyone die for him. Xiao Yao just shakes it off, acting like they're locked in and not going anywhere. The assassin leader snaps back to reality and signals his squad to push forward. His people move out, cutting down the mercenaries, dropping them one after another. In just a short moment, the whole thing turns bloody, drifting straight into a full-on slaughter. The commander of the assassin group just stares, brain freezing up, unable to wrap his head around what he's seeing. On the other side, Luo and the others are low-key fired up, energy boosting when they spot the backup going crazy. Even with things going south, the assassin leader clenches his teeth and refuses to tap out. He shifts his stance, getting ready to rush in and strike. But right before he can move, a sudden notification pops up from one of his squad members. The report says Sujin pulled it off. His little girl Chi-Chi's already out and safe. As he reads it, the assassin boss drops a single happy tear he can't hold back. Without wasting a second, he barks out an order, telling every one of his guys on the field to stand down. Chen Jun is still yelling at him non-stop, waving his daughter as a threat, completely clueless. She's already out of danger. The leader hits his limit with this clown and his annoying voice. He storms over, clamps a hand around Chen Jun's neck, and starts squeezing like he wants to snap him in half. While crushing him, he coldly lets him know his daughter's already home, and Chen Jun's the one about to log off for good. Chen Jun immediately drops his fake courage and starts begging, desperate to stay alive. The leader's face stays stone cold. He doesn't even slow down. He rams his blade right into Chen's chest, no hesitation. Chen goes down on the spot, his HP wiped to 0. Luo looks at the assassin leader and throws out a question about whether he's really cool with offing someone like Chen Jun, since the guy was straight up lethal. The mercenary captain answers that none of that matters compared to protecting his own family. Then his legs give out and he drops to his knees in front of our MC, full-on apologizing. He begs Luo to pass on his thanks to Sujin for him. He even says he'll do whatever he can to make up for all the people he's killed before. That's when Xiao Yao walks over and calmly says that 235 of their Supreme Guild brothers were wiped out by these same mercs, and now the guild wants payback. Every assassin around them instantly tenses up, hearts pounding, but their leader keeps his head, telling everyone to stay locked in and hold position. Meanwhile, Lu is just standing there, dialed in on the leader, itching to finish him off and pay Sujin back. As the guy's HP drops to 0, his last clear thought is how this damage from Lu makes 0 sense. In his head, he's certain Lu isn't some regular player and even tells him to think about his daughter or something because this is way past normal. And yet lying there on the verge of death, that's the final thing running through his mind. After he falls, the rest of the mercenaries are left standing around the battlefield, all of them locked onto Lu, ready to jump him because he just erased their commander. bystander. You can see it in their faces as they crack their knuckles and ready their gear, like they're fully loaded for payback. But before they rush in, everyone's devices buzz at once and they all pause to check the alert. It's a message from their leader, very much alive, saying that thanks to Lu and his bro he saved his daughter Chi-Chi, and warning that if any of them dare touch those two, they're instantly out of the guild. The mercenaries all just stand there processing, cycling through every emotion in seconds as their anger collapses into awkward silence and reluctant acceptance. Meanwhile, Luo is just standing there, watching all their faces bug out, with no idea what is going on. In his head, it probably looks like they all just lagged out at the same time or something. Then Li Xiaoyao, the Supreme Guild's vice president, starts freaking out because the mercs are heading their way, but Luo is calm, acting like nothing's about to go wrong. And he's right to stay calm, because the mercenaries suddenly drop to their knees in front of them like it's some mass confession scene. They start admitting they want to make things right for all the Supreme Guild players they took out and don't want to leave their leader holding all the blame. At that point, Luo finally gets what's going on and slides into a full-on speech, leaning hard into the whole unity vibe. He talks about standing together against mutual enemies, keeping their people safe, and defending the Dragon Nation, posing there like he's on a recruitment poster. Then he adds that they've got to cover double the loot and resource losses for the Supreme Guild and also team up to clear the Third World. The mercenaries accept on the spot, taking the deal easy since all they really have to do after all those kills is pay up and grind a high-tier dungeon. The scene cuts and Luo steps out of the portal with Xiaoyang standing there in the distance quietly watching him go. He finally understands why Yao has been hyping this guy non-stop. As soon as he walks back into the safe zone calm and casual, every nearby player just stares at the dark skeleton following behind him. In their heads, they're all wondering how this random dude scored something that busted. While they're tripping out, Luo quietly opens up the pet window to see what it can do. Its numbers are straight up insane, outside of the part where its skills still look basic. That's when he remembers the 2 skill books he pulled as rewards and decides it's time to plug them in. He's locked in on the menus, adjusting stats and swapping skills for his new pet. Right then, Sujin bursts out of the crowd full sprint, calling out to him. The first thing out of her mouth isn't about how he's holding up or that she's glad he made it back. Nope, she's trying to find out if he was the one who actually finished off Chen Jun. Luo breaks it down and says he did smack Chen Jun's HP basically to 0, but it was really Pai Chi, their assassin captain, who delivered the killing hit. Sujin's shoulders drop in relief, her whole vibe loosening up, and it low-key makes Luo wonder why she was that stressed over one death. She lays it out. Chen Jun is the only kid of Chen Tin, a dude who straight up dotes on his son, so if the boy dies, of course he's going to snap. In her mind, Chen Tian is already going full revenge hunt on whoever actually took his son out. Lu just stands there feeling like Sujin's genuinely clutch. She took the hit earlier to protect him and then sprinted all the way here just to give him a heads up about this backlash. When she sees him staring at her, Sujin's eyes light up for a second, like she's hoping he finally understands how she feels, almost like those sparkly anime panels come to life. But instead, our clueless main character just labels her a solid, reliable teammate. You can see it instantly, like the light drains from her expression and she just kind of freezes with pure disappointment. In her head, she's probably repeating that word teammate and thinking about how she literally threw her life away for this guy. She flips the convo and starts asking how he's going to pay her back since she burned a res and even lost a level purely because she got caught up with him. Luo tells her he'll carry her through that alternate world, but not today. They're logging off and going back to reality to sleep like normal people. Next frame, it's the real world again and he's back in his apartment. He's sprawled out, finally relaxed, ready to just knock out. But since main characters aren't allowed peace, his phone lights up with a call from some random unknown number. He picks up, and the first thing he hears is someone on the other end thanking him. It's Pai Chi, who says he grabbed Luo's contact from Sujin because he wanted to properly show his gratitude, while watching his daughter crashed out calmly beside him. Pai Chi starts explaining that she's his whole world and that's why he made every move he did. He goes on to say he's done with all the dirty underground stuff and plans to go straight, relying on real alternate world clears instead. Luo backs him up on it, telling him he's finally locked in on the right path. The next morning slides in, and Luo gets yanked out of sleep by the steady knocking at his front door. He cracks it open and there's a courier standing there with a box saying he needs Luo's signature. Luo knows he didn't buy anything, so his guard instantly goes up, but once he tears open the envelope inside, he's staring at a Pro League tournament invite that just leaves him standing there low-key stunned. Holding that clean-looking invite in his hand, he can't help wondering if someone spotted his real skills, or if the sender might actually be another reincarnator like him, someone else who jumped back in time and already knows what kind of monster he really is. While he's still trying to figure out what this all means, his phone suddenly buzzes with a new alert. He takes a look and sees a DM telling him to check the news right now. He taps it open and sees the headline. Some maniacs straight up wiped the main base of the professional guild off the map, wiping out 45 lives in total, and in that count is this guy Pai Chi and his little 9-year-old daughter. Our protagonist's whole expression hardens, and in his head he just labels them as complete animals for going after a kid like that, the kind of evil you don't really come back from. He snatches up his jacket and his thoughts start lining up fast. All those murders popping off right after that weird letter showed up is way too on timing to be random. As he steps out of his apartment, Lulu's already telling himself he's got to lock down a new spot to stay. But as he's moving, he's got this quiet alarm going off inside, like he can't shake the feeling there's someone low-key trailing behind him. So he keeps hopping between different taxis, loops his route on purpose, and literally spends the day trying every trick he knows to lose any possible follower. After running that whole distraction route like some stealth mission, he eventually finds himself standing in front of a real estate office. A girl comes to the door, clocks him right away, and asks if he's looking for a place, and yeah, he lets her know that's what he's there for. Inside, a woman with a genuinely kind vibe welcomes him and instantly goes into showing off this one apartment she's sure is pretty much perfect for him. She then wants to know if he's down to see it immediately, and Luo doesn't overthink it at all and agrees to go check it out on the spot. A little while later, he and the agent are inside this unit over in the Shiding complex, checking it out in person. The agent starts hyping it up, talking about how chill the neighbors are, how close everything is, just full-on sales mode. Luo walks around the rooms, glances over the layout, and pretty quickly decides it's good enough, so he agrees to take it. The agent's face brightens up instantly, like she just scored big, and she jumps straight into explaining contracts and signing procedures. Right in the middle of that, his phone starts buzzing. On the screen, it's Sujin, wanting to know if they're still planning to team up and push through the third world. She tells him she's already locked down a rental and will transfer him his cut of the costs. Next thing, Luo is in his fresh apartment, psyching himself up to log back into the alternate world again. A heartbeat later, the two of them are standing right across from each other inside the safe zone. Before he can even say anything, a couple of random players wander over and start trying to recruit Sujin for their own squad, basically trying to convince her to drop Luo from her team, saying he's some nobody gamer with trash level who's only slowing her down. Right when it looks like things are about to escalate, Yao suddenly steps into frame. He snatches one of the dudes by the collar, leaning in close as he goes off on them for trash-talking Luo. Standing just behind him, Xiao Yao reminds Yao not to start beef that could bring extra heat on Luo later. Luo Yao pauses, runs it through his head, and admits to himself his friend has a point. He ends up letting the pair walk, even though his whole posture shows he's itching to swing. Sujin's cheeks are still burning and her hands won't stay still. And that's when Yao casually starts presenting his guild lineup. There's Xiao Yao, who runs support, and Shen Yi, the squad's healer, both ready to help power level Luo through the dungeon. But Luo waves it off, saying he's fine rolling with just Sujin for this run. Now they switch over to talking about Chen Chen, this boss level legend that has everyone too scared to even say his name wrong. But deep down, Luo's getting those Sujin instincts, like there's some dirty stuff going on in the background with this guy that no one's talking about. Sujin's still tense though, pointing out that Luo already clashed with Chen Jun before, so odds are he's sitting on Chen's blacklist too. Luo, acting like it's just another quest, basically tells her to relax, insisting he can deal with whatever comes at him. Off to the side, Luo Yao and his guild squad are just posted up, taking in every second of this little moment. Their faces say it all, straight envy, like they're all thinking how Lulu somehow ends up being the main character every time. Out of nowhere, our protagonist faces them and checks if they're ready to roll out. They answer together without missing a beat, fully locked in and hyped. Right after that, a system window pops up in front of Luo, confirming if he really wants to go after the third world boss. He doesn't even blink. He hits confirm and sends it. And just like that, a huge dimensional gate rips open right in front of their squad. They walk straight into it, and the system message slams across their vision. It spells out the name of the place they've landed in. Deaf God Descends World. Luo could only stand there taking it all in, thinking how this wasn't what he expected at all. At first, Area A doesn't even look that intimidating, but then the sunlight disappears and the whole sky fades to pitch black. Their heads tilt up at the same time. Above them, countless bats pack the air so tight, it's like the clouds got replaced. Out of the middle of that buzzing, flapping mess, this gigantic raid boss slowly fades into view. Lu Yao's expression sinks. He clocks instantly they're squaring up with the actual god of death, and this fight is going to be anything but light. Luo instantly fires up his detectability, locking his eyes on the boss's full stat sheet. After taking in all the info on the screen, he's sitting there thinking to himself, Yeah, this thing is way tougher than the previous world boss they clap. Still, with his 2 pets kitted out in undead gear, he figures they've got this unlock. The boss suddenly lets out this wild, ear-splitting roar, and the floor starts cracking open as a massive skeletal king, plus an entire squad of bone soldiers claws its way up from underground. Luo stays calm the whole time, doesn't even flinch. He snaps his fingers and brings out his battle pad. Then he mentally orders them to clear every mob in sight until nothing's left standing. After that, he casually fires off a flaming missile like it's just another spell cast, and wipes out a whole wave of monsters with a single blast. Shoni just stands there frozen, brain lagging, watching him erase an entire squad in one move while everybody else is sweating just to drop one basic skeleton. After that, Luo runs through the strat. He'll solo the boss up front, while the rest of the squad focuses on cleaning up the smaller mobs. He also tells Luo to sit tight in a safe spot, since he's burned through all his revives and one death sends him straight back to the lobby. Sujina and Sheni start gassing Luo up, and then Xiaoyonia suddenly glances around, realizing she can't see Guildmaster Yao anywhere. The view jumps to Yao tucked behind a big rock in the distance, shouting about how he's staying alive by staying as far away from the fight as possible. It cuts back to Luo, and he's low-key proud his new pet is coming in clutch here. The skeleton warrior is locking down all the smaller mobs for him. With that backup locked in, Luo dashes straight toward the god of death. The dark skeleton swings and cracks Kaiser right in the face with a brutal hit, and Shani completely loses it, yelling that even this level 30 boss is getting stomped by Luo's pet like it's just another regular mob. At the same time, he's locked in on the boss too, tearing into it without letting up. Blow after blow, every strike lands clean and chunks the boss's HP bar. With both of them mauling it, the thing can barely react, and Xiao Yao has to calm herself down and just keep the heals coming. The battle drags on for minutes, all back and forth, trading damage and dodges non-stop, until Lua finally drops the last hit and wipes the boss out in one brutal finish. A system banner flashes up right away, blasting out congrats to their whole squad for the kill, and they all start celebrating hard, realizing they're the first party to ever clear the third world. Lual then suggests to Sujin and Yao that they should stay logged into the third world for a couple days and keep grinding levels, so by the time they queue into the fourth world, all those monsters will be way easier to handle. Both of them back him up on it immediately, agreeing the move is solid, and thinking everything's chill, he figures he might as well crash there for the night. Time skips, and now he's back at his own place, feeling dead tired and planning to knock out before jumping into the fourth world. He steps inside, leaves the lights off, and makes a beeline straight for his bed, just wanting to faceplant and sleep. But right as he climbs on, something feels off under his hand. His fingers sink into something soft, and he completely stops moving as it hits him that there's already someone lying in his bed. He jerks back, totally stunned, and what he sees in front of him is the kind of scene most dudes would 100% call a W. Their little guy would probably be celebrating too, but this clown, instead of actually taking in what's happening, just throws it all away. He bolts out of the room on pure instinct and instantly calls up his realtor like it's an emergency. He wants to know if this place is actually some shared setup nobody told him about, and this woman still has the nerve to act like she told him all this from the start, trying to twist the story on him like he's the one who's confused. He's standing there thinking he knows for a fact she never once mentioned anything about sharing the place with a roommate. Instead of just owning up and saying sorry, she flips the script completely, going full Karen and yelling about how her team busted their tails finding him this spot, and now he's complaining when he never clearly said he didn't want a roommate. He's just posted up there by the door, low-key having an existential crisis, wondering when this whole thing magically turned into his fault. He tells her straight up to lock in a new place for him as fast as possible, and she says she'll handle it, but makes it clear it's not gonna be instant. He's still standing guard by the doorway, not moving an inch. Right beside him is the bed where the girl is still knocked out cold. Not even knowing any of this drama is going on, Lua pulls out the invitation letter he got earlier for that tournament, noting it's for the 100th Pro League match, set to kick off in 2 weeks. His focus flips instantly. He's locked in now, remembering how in his past life he died before he ever had a shot at going pro. So this time he's fully committed to entering that tournament and grinding until people actually know his name. The catch is, he's got to grind up to level 30 first if he even wants a shot at getting into the Pro League. So, since crashing at home is clearly a no-go with that random woman there, he decides to dip back into the alternate world instead. He walks up to the glowing portal, ready to step through. Right then, his phone vibrates with a message from Yao, asking him to help with something. At the same time, over in the third world called Shadowland, things are already heating up. Yao's standing there with 3 girls all clowning on him non-stop. They're straight up doubting him, saying he doesn't even look like he can handle what's coming. Trying not to look weak, Yao boosts himself up, saying if he can't do it, his big bro will carry no problem. Right when he finishes, Willow spawns into the alternate world exactly like Yao said he would. As soon as they lay eyes on him, the 3 girls start sizing him up and silently judging if he's really that guy. Since his class is Beast Tamer, the one everybody clowns on as bottom tier trash. Yao is basically groveling, desperate for him to carry, while Lu is just laughing inside, seeing clear as day he's only doing all this to look cool in front of the girls. Yao finally spells it out. The mission is to take down a level 27 skeleton boss, and he already sent his whole squad in ahead of time. They got wiped off the map, every single one, so now Luo is straight up the only shot they've got left. When they reach the boss's lair, he steps past the entrance and tells the others to just chill outside. The girls keep chatting loud, acting like he's all talk and secretly too weak to back any of it up. Not even 3 minutes later, he walks out calm from the doorway, and one of the girls instantly thinks he got rolled hard and rage quit the fight. Luo casually lets Yao know the boss is already dead and says he's dipping because he's got other things to do. Yao starts boosting him up like crazy, talking him up to everyone like he's some legendary carry. Meanwhile, the girls are scrambling through their system screens, shook that the clear notification is actually real and he smoked the boss that fast. Once they double check the quest is really cleared, two of the girls start buttering Yao up, and he brings up their deal about playing his girlfriend for a week if Luo actually managed to finish it. The third girl instantly tries to bail, clearly way more into Luo than sticking to some L of a bet. Yao snags her before she can dip. She's squirming and begging him to just let her go. A little later, that same girl pops up behind Luo and calls him Asura, the name he went by in his last life, and inside he's low-key losing it. He still acts like nothing's weird, saying Asura died 100 years ago, but she clearly isn't fooled at all. She pushes back and says he never died, because Asura is literally standing right in front of her. That's when it finally lands for him that she's the one who wrote that strange letter to him. Luo instantly grabs her by the throat, demanding to know who she actually is and how she found out about his past. She refuses to fold, saying she'll only talk if he helps her out with something first. Hearing her suddenly begging and promising to keep his identity secret just annoys him even more. Part of him really wants to finish her off on the spot so nothing about him ever leaks, but he holds it in because he still needs to figure out who's actually running things behind the scenes. When he asks what she's after, she finally admits she wants him to hard carry her in the Pro League tourney. She starts laying it out, saying all she really needs is for him to drag her through the city prelims. Then she says she'll spill everything after that, and he's thinking, wait, so this whole tournament run is just about cash for her? She admits the prize money matters, but what she really wants is to prove what she's capable of. As he turns to leave, Lu tells her straight up she needs to grind to level 30 first. She lights up, hyped, saying she'll hit him up the moment she dings 30. When she keeps trailing behind him like a shadow, Luo has to press pause and remind her to only contact him when it's time to sign up. That's it for her in his head now. No more messages, no calls, not even wasting a single thought on her. After leaving her completely behind in the real world, he jumps into the fourth world known as Dragon Valley. He appears right inside the Temple of Light, which is the main safe zone there. The whole area is crowded because players from both Linhai and Gon City all respawn in the same spot. Here's how this world works for him. He has to finish 2 main storyline quests, hunt down at least 3 different Lord tier dark dragons, and build level 5 trust with at least 1 dragon before he can even touch the final boss. On top of that, once he hits level 30, he unlocks another pet slot, meaning he can finally grab a flying dragon, so he's fired up and ready to grind hard. With that goal locked in, he takes his pets and pushes deep into the dark mountains. Out there, they start tearing through dragons non-stop, dropping them like it's nothing, while his summoned pets are off destroying mobs for him. Luo's just chilling on the cliff, scrolling through his screen, studying how to clap dragons fast. Out of nowhere, this strange rumbling sound starts creeping in from the distance. He lifts his head and catches sight of a massive swarm of flying dragons tearing through the sky right toward his spot. He's sitting there like, no way, this kind of hidden quest never showed up in his last life. His brain is spiraling, trying to figure out what on earth is going on right now. He instantly dumps all his points to level up and orders his pets to get ready to scrap. But curveball time. The black dragons and the light dragons suddenly start going at each other instead of targeting him, with the black dragons already getting folded on all sides. Luo basically only has the light dragons left to stress about, but right as he's settling into that thought, the vibe flips. A level 35 boss dragon locks eyes on him and rushes in full speed. Before the hit lands, his beast companion slides in front and eats the attack for him. In that instant, Lu cocks that there aren't just 1 but 3 level 35 dragons circling him, and he low-key starts thinking he's about to see that respawn screen on loop. Out of nowhere, one of the Lord-ranked dragons actually speaks up, announcing it's going to end him. Luo's just standing there stunned, wondering since when these things got voice chat. The dragon lays it out for him. Ooh. Isakams, Kosh, Nol C, cut ties with the Light Clan and side with the Darks or get wiped right here on the spot. Standing there under those dragon stairs, Luna realizes if she says no, they straight up delete her on the spot. That means dropping down to level 2 again, and she knows that kind of setback is something she just can't eat right now. With no real way out, she ends up nodding and going along with their deal. The dark dragon licks its claws and rips open this creepy, swirling portal. It signals for her to go in first, basically forcing her to walk through. The moment she steps out the other side, Luna's standing in this gloomy, shadowy hall that looks like a villain base. It isn't a safe zone at all, just a spot where players can log in, log out, and respawn. Waiting there is a dark armored dragon knight named Goya, who casually greets her as a new member of the Dark Clan. A system alert flashes on his screen, asking if he's down to squad up with the Dark Clan. Before he can even process it, another prompt hits, telling him he just got deranked because the hidden quest timer expired. With the bare introductions out of the way, Goya doesn't waste time and assigns his first mission: wipe out some light dragons to prove he's committed. Just like that, Luo's locked into farming members of the Light Clan whether he feels like it or not. Right then, his messages ping, and it's that girl from earlier blowing up his phone, begging him to save her. He shuts her down and ignores it, not trying to get dragged into her problems. She still keeps pushing, saying if he comes through, she'll drop some intel on Asura. Hearing Asura's name instantly switches him on. He doesn't hesitate and warps straight back to the third world. There, in the dead city, she's just standing by herself, looking like she's completely out of options. She goes on about how her party bailed right before the quest, and with the timer about to hit 0 by tonight, sliding into his DMs was literally her last option. Luo isn't moved at all by the whole tragic backstory. He's only focused on clearing the mission quick and logging off. Right then, Sujin rolls up into the area, spots him standing there, and clearly wonders what he's doing on this map. Her eyes land on the girl beside him, and you can see her stress shoot straight through the roof. The girl instantly claims she's his cousin, Ningtian, and plays it off like they're just family running quests together. Luo rolls with it since this whole deal between them needs to stay under wraps. Hearing that, Sujin actually gets hyped about meeting his cousin and asks if she can hop in on the quest too. Next thing he knows, Luo's queuing up in this weird 3-man squad with all kinds of tension hovering over them. Time skips ahead, and so Luo and Jin just stay locked in, clearing out waves of zombies together. They're synced up, bodies flying everywhere as they combo through the whole horde. Off to the side, Tian's just standing there watching them and kinda hating how useless she feels. In her head, she can't help lining herself up against Sujin again. She's thinking how Sujin's going crazy in this game while she's over here vibes only, basically just there for moral support. As she's wrapping up the quest, a couple of her friends spot her and instantly go report to Brother D that his girl's out running co-op with another guy. After all that, Ningtian still turns back to them, low-key grateful for how hard they carried her. The second Sujin logs off and disappears from the area, Luo doesn't waste a beat and moves in on Tian, asking her straight about the Asura situation. She finally spills and tells him Asura's actually based in Linhai City, holed up at some place called the Shua Elegance Community. Luo just stares at her, low-key freaked, trying to figure out how she's got this level of inside info on him. Without hesitating, he sends a command N6, his summoned pet, straight at her. The skeletal beast lunges forward, bony fingers wrapping tight around her neck. It's brutal, zero playfulness in it, and she's clawing at its hand, wheezing out that she'll spill everything once the event's over. Luo clocks immediately that she's the type to stash intel and pull it out only when it benefits her. He cancels the order, the pet backs off, and she collapses to the floor, hacking and dragging in ragged breaths. Calm on the surface, he drops a last reminder that sounds chill but comes across like a clear threat. He lays it out, only message him after she hits level 30, and if she messes around, wiping her from the server would be light work for him. Ning Tian, still rubbing her neck and trying to breathe normal again, swears the whole situation stays locked and nobody else will ever hear about it. Even so, Luo can't shake it. The fact she tracked down his address has him seriously thinking about bouncing and finding a new place. Over in the fourth world, things are heating up on a whole different front. God of War is still in-game, scrolling through the receipts Tian's friends sent him. From his face, it's clear he's the secret boyfriend, and now he's fully convinced she just did him dirty. The guy next to him doesn't let it slide either, hyping it up and saying no random dude could ever be good enough to mess with the vice leader's girl. All they've pieced together is that the guy Tammy was spotted with runs a skeleton king as his pet, but who he really is still unknown. Even so, since they're mid-quest, the vice leader group chats his own feelings and shoves that whole relationship mess to the side. He calls the shots and gets everyone dialed in on their main goal, erase every last dark dragon on the map. As their attack pushes forward, a blurry silhouette starts walking out of the lingering smoke like he owns the place. They try to make out the figure, and then it hits them. It's Luo, just standing there chill with his back to them. The vice leader instantly starts throwing his weight around, acting like he's king of the server and telling Luo he should fall in line under him. When Luo finally turns around, that whole squad by the entrance just freezes, staring at this random stranger standing mid-city like he spawned out of nowhere. They're all trying to process it, because in their heads there's no way some newbie clued the third world and beat everyone out that fast. Ningtan's boyfriend narrows his eyes at Luo, silently pressing him not to mess with anything tied to the God of War guild. Luo, still clueless about who this God of War crew even is, and not looking to stir anything up when he's got other missions lined up, decides it's smarter to just bounce. He turns his back on the group and casually starts heading off like he's done here. Behind him, the vice leader flips, ready to swing on Luo, and a couple guildmates have to grab him and drag him back before he throws away his account over ego. As Luo walks off, the guild chats light up, everyone talking about him, saying there's no way a beast tamer hits that clear time, and assuming he's some stacked veteran from Linhai City. It kind of adds up to them, since Linhai and their hometown both link up once you hit the fourth world map. Staring down his quest list, the vice leader goes dark and swears to himself that next time he runs into Luo, he's taking him out. That quest at the top is a hidden track mission for a solo raid on the corpse dragon, so he orders the whole guild to back him up and help him delete it. After pushing through the map for a while, they finally pull up on the dragon's nest and just rush straight in like it's their server now. The vice leader's all gassed up, thinking he can solo these dragons no problem, but out of nowhere, someone parked right under the dart dragon's nose rockets in and tags him first. The vice leader just freezes, absolutely not believing what he's seen. Luo steps out of the blast and makes it clear that this boss dragon is claimed. In that moment, everyone can tell this is about to turn into an issue, because now they're both locked on the same boss. The vice leader snaps back and orders. One of his guild lackeys charges straight at Luo, thinking he's about to delete him on command. Instead, Luo deletes the dude in one clean hit, absolutely wiping him off the screen. The vice leader just stalls out, stunned that a level 24 teammate got dropped in a single move like that. Before he can even get his head straight, something in the scene pulls his focus. The boss level dragon standing right beside Luo isn't touching him at all, and that's setting off alarms in his head. That's when it clicks. Luo's real mission is actually to guard the corpse dragon from their whole squad, which feels straight up ironic. Luo keeps it pushing, raises his hand, and brings out his skeleton king. Watching that summon pull up, the vice leader finally pieces everything together. This is the same beast tamer Tien was seen with, and you can almost see his anger bar maxing out. Luo, though, stays locked in, dialed on clearing this quest after choking the last one. He's not letting himself eat another L. Watching Luo stand there calmly like he owns the map sends this dude over the edge. In his head, Luo just yoinked his girl and beat his dragon mechanic in one clean run. Straight away he snaps, full tilted, barking at his guild in voice chat, telling everyone to hard focus Luo and wipe him off the map. The problem is, his squad is already on life support, getting clapped by the dragon's attacks. They're barely hanging on with potion spam, and now this mystery player walks out of the smoke built like an endgame boss. These guys are already done. Luo doesn't hesitate and starts deleting war guild members one after another like he's clearing trash mobs. People keep dropping, health bars vanish, and it finally kicks in for the vice leader that this fight is lost. He chokes down his ego and orders whoever's still standing to fall back and regroup, swearing they'll pull up later with the full main roster for a rematch. This tiny entry squad clearly isn't enough to handle someone on Luo's level. Luo remembers his mission: survive for 24 in-game hours, so he knows for sure they'll be back later, probably dragging the whole Discord and their alts with them. He just locks in and decides it's time to bunker down, set up properly, and get ready for a real war. Later on, Luo starts replaying what that vice leader yelled about him, stealing his girl, and he's sitting there actually lost, wondering where that even came from. In his head, he's just confused, thinking he doesn't even know this so-called girlfriend they're mad about. Once he cools off, he pings his guy Yao and asks what the deal is with this God of War guild, and Yao fills him in that they're sitting at second place across all of Jining province. Luo just looks at the screen and casually notes that he literally just scrapped with them. After seeing their rating and background laid out like that, Luo understands that even if he's built different, next time they'll definitely roll in deep, so he can't solo it and will need real support. He drops a command for his dart dragon to stay and guard the city, then heads out to hunt for some serious backup. Over in the third world, Sujin gets word that Luo just went in and tried to 1v Fid sign Scythehao War Guild completely by himself. The moment she processes that, her heart jumps and she starts stressing hard about him diving into that kind of fight alone. Then it cuts to Luo standing inside this creepy dim stone hall in front of the Dark Clan leader Jaya, laying out his request. And to his surprise, the leader nods almost instantly and signs on to support him. Watching how fast they back him, Luo honestly feels taken aback, because the Light Clan, the guys branded as the righteous heroes, never lift a finger when players beg them for help. But the Dark Clan, branded as villains, are the ones one's ready to squad up with no questions asked. So he locks in and quickly lays everything out for her. The Corpse Dragon Guard quest, the giant raid that's about to hit, every detail. Goya throws an arm over his shoulder like some over-the-top senpai, vowing they'll carry him through that quest like it's set in stone. Right then, an urgent red alert pops up on Luo's screen. The Corpse Dragon's getting hit right now, and if he doesn't rush back, it's getting white. He slams the teleport and jumps back to his zone instantly, while Goya is still behind him striking a pose and hyping that darkness will forever have his back. Back at the Corpse Dragon area, the whole map is straight madness. Every major squad has shown up, bringing what seriously looks like half the server along with them, and they're dumping everything they've got into shredding that dragon. A whole crowd of players rushes him at once, blades up and glowing. Skills explode across the screen like a full-on light show, covering the whole area. Right in the middle of that chaos, Luo just pops into view out of nowhere like he spawned in late. Without waiting a second, he pivots and swings back, turning straight to offense. The vice leader clocks Luo's username instantly and loses it, yelling in chat for every damage dealer to burn him down first. Luo drops his summons onto the field and, in his head, lets them know he's giving this squad one last mercy. Leave the fight right now or get wiped and sent back to respawn for good. They refuse to back off, and this lightning caster especially thinks he's built different and can 1v1 Luo himself. Instead of softening up, the vice calls an audible and switches the whole team's target over to the Corpse Dragon. After that, he turns and throws the opening spell straight at Luo, kicking the real duel off, but Luz's pet just shrugs it off like it's nothing and eats the whole hit for him. Hyun is froze on the spot, staring blankly at the screen, wondering how a so-called beast tamer is tanking everything when his own skills are landing like wet noodles. Right then, the skeleton charges straight at him, bones clattering as it bolts in. He slips past the strike at the last second, and it finally clicks in his head that trading blows up close is straight up suicide. But before he can cook up any kind of plan, Luz snaps off a fireball and sends it flying at his face. Instantly, he panics and pops a shield spell, throwing it up between him and the blast. In his head, he's just sitting there thinking, how is this one guy pushing me this hard all by himself? So he does exactly what every discount bad guy does when the game stops going their way. He hard denies everything on his screen and goes into full meltdown mode, ranting about how he's not taking even a single step back, how he's some legendary lightning caster, the real god of war, and just keeps piling on all this over-the-top flexing. Luo barely reacts, basically sends the message that even if Taming drags his whole guild and dumps every skill and potion they've got on him, they're still not taking this fight. The second that thought is clear in his head, the sky suddenly fills with a whole flight of dark dragons, the reinforcements Luo lined up before he even walked into this mess. When that shadow covers the battlefield and those dragons come into focus, Taming's face goes straight white. Meanwhile, Luo just stands there calm, hinting that if they really want to keep this going, he's more than ready. Timon scans the field, looks at the dragon squad, looks at his own team bleeding out, and runs the numbers in his head, before calling for a full retreat, leaving the vice leader frozen, staring at the screen, unable to process that they're bailing on a hidden quest he cannot afford to drop. The guildmaster's not dumb enough to watch his entire roster get wiped just for a payout, and as the dust starts to settle, Timon finally starts realizing what really just went down. The vice leader just stares, wondering why the Corpse Dragon and Lord Dragons are straight up ignoring the beast tamer. Then it suddenly clicks for him that Luo's literally there to bodyguard those dragons instead of kill them. With that, he realizes actually clearing this quest today is off the table, and after stalling for a bit, the vice leader finally calls for a retreat. As they pull back, Chen can't resist dropping that corny villain routine, saying they're definitely spinning the block on Luo another time. On the way out, the vice leader is still tight about Luo, stewing over some fake drama his own teammates cooked up, holding a grudge over something that never even happened. A full in-game day later, the quest timer ends. Dragons are knocked out napping all over the battlefield, and Luo's kicked back on one of their backs like he just claimed a personal gaming throne. A system alert flashes over his screen, giving him the clear that the survival quest's officially complete. Luo casually pats the corpse dragon's bony head, basically letting it know it's done here and can finally dip one after another. The dragons wake up, spread their wings, and launch into the sky, filling the whole view with massive dark silhouettes. Once the sky clears, Luo pulls open his menu coolly and starts scrolling through the rewards he just secured. His reputation with the Dark Clan shoots straight up to level 3, which is huge for him. With all this loot locked in, he can power up his pets easy, and now he's laser focused on hitting level 30 to open that second pet slot. He stashes the rare drops for later too, because he's clearly thinking long term instead of blowing them right away. Right then, a DM pops up on his screen begging for backup, and in his head he's just like, why not? Could be worth checking out anyway. Scene cuts over to the City of Destruction, where it's revealed the SOS wasn't real at all and came from Tien's boyfriend setting up a whole bait play. Dude's just posted up there assuming Luo's not pulling up for this at all. Then mid-wait, Luo's avatar snaps into existence right in front of them, and the whole group is just stuck there thinking no way he actually showed up. The vice leader flags down the main squad right away and drags them over. He strolls up on Luo like he's really about to settle something serious. In his head, he's already decided Lu's getting hard targeted and deleted this time. Luo, though, isn't even locked in on any of that tough guy energy. He just stares at the vice leader like he's bugging, genuinely lost about where this whole stealing my girl storyline even came from. That clueless look hits his ego, and the vice leader just gets hotter, realizing he's playing himself. Right then, the rest of the clowns roll in behind him, throwing the whole brain cell average even lower. Their boss steps forward and waves the others off, trying to act cool like he'll solo Luo personally. After all that rage, this dude actually has the nerve to turn around and try recruiting Luo into his guild like they're suddenly boys, which cranks his rage up instantly. Chen holds his hand out like they're about to lock in a deal, and Lu just gives this slow grin, low-key saying he's the wrong one to underestimate. Chen's whole face shifts like he finally gets it, realizing Luo's actually lining up as a real enemy now. Out of nowhere, a voice rings out from behind telling them not to even think about coming for Luo. Everyone spins around and sees Luo Yao rolled up with his Supreme Guild boys stacked on one side, and Sujin parked with her full Misty Pavilion squad shoulder to shoulder on the other. Together they're basically putting out a warning to anyone thinking about targeting Luo. Push up, and it's over. The vice leader just freezes in place looking straight rattled, while Timmy tries to front like he's tough, bragging they're still ranked second in the entire province. Yao just laughs in his face, basically flexing that he's got the better face card and a fatter wallet. Then Sujin Yan steps forward, eyes locked in, like she's one wrong move away from throwing hands for real. She makes it crystal clear that if anybody lays a finger on him, they're about to find out exactly how Misty Pavilion throws down. The War Guild's vice leader stalls, crunching numbers in his head, trying to convince himself their higher rank still lets them win this. But TM finally taps in with common sense and tells him this is not the time or place to start a full-on guild brawl. The vice leader keeps fronting, acting hard and itching for drama, still craving that fight anyway. Tian shuts it down by reminding him the pro tournament is right around the corner, so risking everything over some tiny ego issue is straight useless. Even the vice leader has to swallow his pride, admit Tian's right, and mumble out an apology for rushing it. In the back of his mind, though, he's wondering what kind of crazy backing Luo's got when not just one, but two guilds are ready to ride for him. Tian, on the other hand, is already scheming on how to poach Lu for his own lineup as soon as he gets the chance. As soon as the War Guild squad finally clears out, the street goes quiet again. Lu Yao swings right around to Luo, quick checks him, then shrugs it off like he's completely chill and nothing even happened. Su Jinyan, though, is still heated, clearly not ready to move on from the stunt those guys just pulled. Luo finally asks what's been on his mind, basically wondering why these two even popped up at this spot in the first place. Before any reasoning comes out, Su Jinyan and Lu Yao blurt out at the exact same moment that they want him in their guild. They both pause, stare each other down for a second, and instantly start going at it over which side Luo should roll with. It low-key turns into an auction. Su Junyan starts promising he can set whatever salary he wants, no limit. Lu Yao counters by saying he'll literally line up different girls for him every single day. Su Jinyan completely blows up at that and starts blasting Lu Yao for being way out of pocket. Lu Yao doesn't back off at all, since in his head he figures that's what most guys are actually looking for, and he's convinced Misty Pavilion can't offer anything like that. Su Jinyan gets so worked up defending Luo that she just blurts out that she can handle all his needs herself. Half a second later it hits her what that actually sounded like, and her brain just freezes. She jumps into panic mode, waving her hands and trying to backpedal, while Luo and Yao stand there in total silence just staring at her like the game lagged. In the end, Luo shuts everything down and tells them both he's only grinding levels right now and not entertaining anything else. He turns around and walks off, leaving the two top guild leads standing there on the street with nothing to say. They watch his avatar get smaller in the distance before realizing he's calmly marching off in the totally wrong direction. Scene cuts out of the game to real life, where Ning Tian's boyfriend is deep diving wiki pages and forums on the Dark Clan. When he finally sees Luo's name under their members, he digs deeper and learns there's a hidden Dark Clan quest that's rumored to be so busted and miserable that nobody's even tried it, assuming it was just some fake rumor. His eyes light up instantly, thinking this is the shot he needs to finally one-up Luo once and for all. Back inside the game, Su Jinyan now switched over to her main account. Su Jinyao reappears online, ready to move, while this squad of random players is scrambling around trying to chill this divine dragon out. The thing is totally raging, going off because somebody jacked its egg. Then they glance over and notice Luo just standing there all calm, which means he clearly queued up this quest too. In their heads, they're basically just going, yo, no shot. so they ask if he wants to squad up and run it against the dark dragons. But Luo just turns them down, saying his target's actually the light dragons instead, and that has everyone straight up confused, like they just misread the whole mission screen. Right then, they all look up and catch sight of a level 35 light dragon cruising overhead in the clouds, staring down at them, visibly pissed, clearly hunting for those stolen eggs. Since Sujin and Yao had nothing to do with stealing those eggs, they're just cooling in the back like this whole thing doesn't concern them. Out of nowhere, the light dragon locks straight onto the protagonist and starts targeting only him. Sujin and Yao are still completely clueless. No idea why the aggro suddenly flipped. They run around the place trying everything they can to chill out this divine dragon that's fully tilted. Lu's planted in front of it with his shield raised, holding the line. In his head, he thinks he's fully covered behind that thing, but that's wishful thinking. The next blast still chunks him for 2720 HP and he just tanks it like a brick wall. The light dragon doesn't let up at all, staying on him non-stop like it's hard tunneling. After eating attack after attack, Louis' shield finally cracks and shatters into bits. With no cover left, he has to step back fast before he gets completely deleted. Everyone's crowding around confused, wondering why this light dragon's locked in on just one dude. But with dragon moms being able to smell their own eggs, the real thief is kind of clowning himself right now. Louis Needy UI finally connects the dots and low-key starts hyping himself up in his head, realizing he's basically been exposed by the dragon's nose. Meanwhile, Lou keeps playing innocent, acting all surprised like he's never even heard of swiping dragon eggs a day in his life. The wild part is, the harder he pretends, the worse it looks. Because this dragon is hard focusing only him and straight up treating everyone else like background NPCs. On top of that, the dragon might be sensing something deeper too, like the fact that he's actually rolling with the Dark Clan. Either way, Lou is not about to sit around and test how forgiving a dragon is. He snaps into grind mode and drops his whole pet army on the field to take the heat for him. But every beam and blast just erases their HP bars so fast that the outcome starts looking way too obvious. If this keeps going even a little longer, the main character's basically queued up to become dragon dinner. But then, right when it feels cooked, it turns out the whole drama was triggered by the War Guild's vice president setting everything up from the shadows. Sujin and Yao instantly start yelling out commands, totally locked in. They're barking at their own teammates to jump in and save this guy from getting wiped. Sujin's still 100% sure Luo's not that kind of person, so she steps up and tries to talk the light dragon down. She leans into this whole justice angle like it should judge things fairly. The divine dragon stays stone cold, not budging at all. It lays down a harsh condition: either they prove he's clean, or everyone on the field dies. Right when it feels like the tension can't go any higher, Ningtian suddenly drops into the scene like a clutch hero. She steps forward and tells the divine beast that she's got proof backing him up. Ningtian's man is sitting there watching all this go down and he's absolutely fuming. Tianning just pulls out an image crystal like she's been waiting for this, and flips on the raw, unedited clip of who actually swiped the eggs. The camera zooms in, and, no big shock, the thief on screen is Vice President Wu from the War Guild. His whole sly little move is literally caught in 4K as he pockets those dragon eggs. On the hologram, she rewinds to the frame of him posted up on the cliff with his squad behind him, and throws a sharp gesture right at that spot. Rudy completely loses it on the spot, ranting at her and freaking out because she just put his dirt out in public. Now that the light dragon finally sees what really happened, it wheels around in the air, beelines straight toward Wu's squad, and presses them for the exact location of the missing eggs. Everyone on that cliff starts trembling, fully knowing they already flipped the eggs for cash. The dragon goes red hot mad, every scale stiff, its rage practically shaking the air around them. Straight wipes the War Guild crew off the map right there, then logs off like he never pulled up. Sujin sprints over and starts thanking Tanning like crazy. She's all about how they'd be lying face down in the respawn room right now if Tanning hadn't clutch carried. Taeyoung's just low-key pleased. She finally did something that wasn't hard trolling the team. But the protagonist? He's locked in now, eyes screaming payback. In his head, he's already decided he's tracking down every War Guild player who touched this drama and making them pay. Scene jump to Jiang City. Inside the God of War Guild's giant main base, a bunch of guild members are scrambling, yelling about Vice President Wu and his squad getting run down by a furious sacred dragon. At the same time, Luo's in the shadows playing pure hitman, deleting War Guild players one after another. They rush the intel to Guildmaster Tan, but he stays ice cold and just tells his guys to seal off the fourth world so no one gets in at all, and every single player tied to stealing that egg gets yeeted from the guild on the spot. But this one guild member nearby nervously reminds him that the pro tournament is literally about to kick off any minute. Lin Tan still doesn't care even a little. He just tells them to start scouting fresh blood to swap in for the trash they just dumped, then drops this casual flex that he'll go deal with that beast tamer problem personally. While all that's happening outside the game, our guy gets a call from his real estate agent asking if he wants to come see a new place close by, and Luo just says he'll head over later that day. Scene cuts to a courier standing in front of some apartment door with a delivery in hand. He forces the door open in one sudden, heavy shove, and the moment Ning Tian steps into the doorway, her whole expression goes pale because the so-called delivery dude is actually Woody hiding under a fake outfit. She instantly tries to slam the door shut on him, but Wu stops it cold with one hand like it's light work, and storms into the room like a maniac, keeping the door blocked like he's not letting her escape no matter what. Ning slowly backs away, heart pounding, totally freaked out and wondering what he's even trying to do to her. Wu blows up, ranting that she ruined him, got him thrown out of the guild, tanked his whole future, and then had the nerve to show up in the league with that tamer. Ning tries to get it out that she's not with Luo's like that she only stepped in so some innocent guy didn't get straight up fed to a dragon, but Wu's so far gone he won't even listen. Cutting her off and not letting a single word land, he snaps and dives at her, smashing her down onto the bed and locking her there with brute strength. Ning's voice cracks as she cries for help, tears just streaming down while she struggles under him. And right when it feels like this whole scene is about to go somewhere seriously dark out of nowhere, a hand yanks Wu up by the collar and flicks him clear across the room like he weighs nothing. The camera swings over to the doorway, and who's standing there? Luo, looking calm as ever, pulling up with the clutch rescue exactly when she needs him. The moment Ningen spots him, she rushes over in tears and grabs onto him like she never wants to let go. Wa's off to the side watching all of this, and his whole face looks like he's about to explode from pure anger. Ningen's stressing hard, trying to explain to Hua that she's got zero connection with Luo, but he refuses to hear any of it. He lunges at her again, yelling that he's going to take her out right there. Luo steps in instantly, not letting that slide for even a second. He cracks Hua with a heavy shot right in the back. Then he chains it with a clean punch straight into his face. Hua hits the ground hard, tasting dirt with blood pouring out of his nose and mouth. When Ningen starts up again, trying to clear things up about how she knows Luo, he cuts her off, brushing it aside like it doesn't matter and saying he only pulled up because he heard a crazy noise. But after a second, it clicks that she's actually the neighbor living right next to him, and that feels way too sus to be random, so now he's side-eyeing everything, trying to figure out what the real story is. She says she's only randomly spotted him around there once before they met up again in that other world. Luo's in his head wondering what's going on and why she keeps throwing the name Asura at him. Ningxia admits she caught that name on a letter someone had dropped off for him before. She reaches into her stuff and pulls that same envelope out. Inside, it's actually info tied to a big pro-level tournament. He's starting to lower his guard around her now, but he's still dead set on tracking down whoever sent it. When he heads out of her place, he passes the envelope back into her hands. He wants her to hang on to it for now. Mingji then asks him if she can crash at his spot, since Wu already has her address locked in. Luo says no at first, but she keeps pushing that she's got nowhere else to stay, and her wallet's basically empty. Thinking back on how she totally came through for him with that dragon video, Luo shoots her 100,000 won, handing over the bonus he got from that city tourney, and casually adds that she doesn't have to pay a single coin back. As he heads down the stairwell, Ming Sui's sitting there in her feels, mumbling that nobody wants to be around a broke freeloader like her. Then it cuts to our guy standing in front of leader Goya, and you can tell he's finally locked in that full trust from the Dark Clan. Goya tells him there's a special mission lined up just for him, with some rare loot on the line. On top of that, Luo's just dinged level 30, and he's debating switching classes before he accepts any fresh quests. Right then the scene jumps again. Our boy steps into the trial zone with his trusty skeleton partner walking right behind him. Instantly, a system screen pops up laying out the rules, and another follows saying if he dies here, he's dropping 3 whole levels. Luo glances around the place and realizes this necromancer promotion quest looks nothing like what he had in mind, so he snaps into grind mode instantly, not burning even a second. He pops open the map, locks onto the next spot, and signals the skeleton king to stick close and move out with him. They barely get a few steps forward through this creepy area when a hand suddenly shoots out in front of them.